All right, we're now officially recording episode 5 of the 20 Years and Counting podcast. Jack and Max, we're back in action. Worst week of picks yet, but maybe one of the best, like in terms of entertainment wise, slates of games yet. So let's just get right into our recap. Only Thursday, Saturday games. What we like to see. A bad Thursday for me, picking wise, but like I said, great basketball. Let's start. NAU catches fire in the Sky Dome to beat Eastern for NAU's second win. First win, second win,
Uh,
second win,
Second win,
second
yes.
win of Big Sky Conference play. Just when it seemed like the Lumberjacks were dead in the water, they
No,
get a.
first one.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Sorry, that was our first. That was our first one.
You
They
know,
were so bad. They were worse than we thought they were.
they were
Or
worse
better
than
than
we
we
thought
thought
they
they
were.
were.
Okay, back to the fastest minute in sports. NAU catches fire in the Sky Dome for their first win of conference play. They beat Eastern Washington 92 to 86. Who knew they could score 92? Behind 20 points, third-year Lumberjack Ryan Abelman. You love to see a program guy stick around. Isaiah Moses, Alaskan Assassin, still a 30 piece from him. NAU, I watched the first half of that game. They couldn't miss from three. Speaking of 30 pieces, Quinn Denker, guess who also isn't dead? The Northern Colorado Bears. They were like 1-7, 35 points and 10 assists, and they win 91 to 83. So just when it seemed like the Bears and the Lumberjacks poke them with a stick, because the Bears actually won that, or no, they had won earlier in the year. But anyway, a huge win for the Bears over the Idaho Vandals. Trouble in paradise. The Vandals. Time maybe seem like the fourth best team. Moving on, the Prophet. Prophet Johnson, 27 points. You're going to hear a lot from him this week in this episode. 27 points, and Sac State beats one loss Montana State in Hornet Pavilion. And the game of the night, if that one wasn't, Montana heads to Portland. Max called it, gives Portland State their first conference loss, a very defensive ball game. Money Williams, the Portland State hometown announcer, said he was the best player on the floor, and there's some good players on Portland State. 24 points. You know, he fouled out. Got a lot of fouls in the second half. Both teams, mainly the Grizz. We'll talk about that. But that was Thursday, and it didn't die down there because Saturday. Don't get too excited about the Grizz, and maybe get excited about Sac State because the Hornets big first half and they outlast the Grizz 86-79. Guess who it was? The Prophet Johnson, 26 points. And then moving on, afternoon game, a losing skid battle. Weber State versus Idaho State. They trailed at half, but Weber State guts out a 2-point win. Pijon Sain Jr., 28 points. Dame Lillard was in the house for this one. He was also in the house for that Portland State Montana game. Um, and hello, Northern Colorado. They back? Did they figure some things out? 2-0 weekend because they beat Eastern Washington 23 points. Ring Neary is how you say his last name. I looked that up. The Kansas City transfer, 23 points. And Portland State, they said, hey, we're not down and out. A 63-54, 54 points. Ugly from the Cats. They beat Montana State. Deion Kenzie Jr. game is what the Big Sky was calling it. 24 points. He's an athletic guy. He's talented. And then the Idaho bounce back win over NAU. Isaiah Brickner, 31 off the bench for the Vandals. He came back to Idaho State, and he's had his best year ever. I think he's been in and out of the rotation the last couple years. I mean, the starting lineup, but 31 off the bench. Idaho a big win. So, case you're counting at home, Portland State 8 and now one loss. MSU had a chance to was standalone, but now we're tied. MSU 7-3 after the 0-2 weekend, and Montana 7-3, so they're tied. KenPom Portland State, despite the loss, they move up to 150. Pretty good spot to be in as a Big Sky school. not far behind at 152, and the Cats, after two losses, dropped 7 to 156. And NAU is still the lowest team, even with that big win at 314. But they stayed the same. In net rankings, Portland State did drop one. In net rankings, they're 135, which is pretty good too. MSU dropped 145, and UM dropped a little bit at 154. So Max, a lot happened. A fun slate, an unpredictable slate. We talked last week, kind of was any given night. Really is now. But what's your first takeaway from the week of games?
Uh, First takeaway: profit is the profit. Like
That's
we
right.
talked about this a little. We talked about this guy a little bit. Obviously, he's had some slow nights, but this point kind of bleeds into my final takeaway. Um, but I mean, it just surprises me. One, that they actually Mikey Williams and Prophet Johnson coexisted because Mikey got 23 the night that Thursday night. Prophet had 27, and then also Mark Lavrinov, their like local guy, he also ended up getting I think 17 that night too. So one, they coexisted, which is what we talked about. If they can coexist, this team is like offensively might be the best team in the league. That they have to do that. They have to exist. And you have those are three legit guys that can score 20 any night. So you might as well try to find a way for them to exist together. And then obviously on Saturday, I mean, you you're cocky coming off of a win against Montana State. And then you have Montana who's cocky after beating the number one team, and it all kind of comes down to who can outscore the other. And Sac State again, like they showed that this offense is extremely good when they're on fire, especially at home. I mean, I think I saw they were 8-1 at home this year. Like that's unreal. I guess Hornet Pavilion is
It
the
is.
place to be when it comes to playing to basketball. So if one, it makes me think, okay, don't probably think against betting against Sac State when they're at home because clearly that's legit. But Prophet Johnson is if he keeps this up, I mean, legitimate talks for Big Sky MVP. Even if Sac State is only like middling by the time they get there, they can't be terrible because I think that would mean Prophet Johnson would have to have like averaging over 30 a game or something like some crazy numbers. But like if they're like even like a 4 or 5, it's like they're like the 5 seed. Like I feel like Prophet Johnson probably, and he's scoring these kinds of numbers. He probably should be in that conversation. But
Yeah, well,
he is
last year it was Dylan Darling from Idaho State who had really good
right.
numbers, but obviously they weren't a top Big
Yeah,
Sky team. So you're right, he's MVP, maybe.
that's a good that's a good point. I kind of yeah, that's a really good point. Dylan Darling, who yeah he was you're kind of guard Jack. Like you're kind of guy. You
He is
plays a
my
lot
kind of
like
guy. Spoiler, we're gonna talk about Dylan Darling in the guessing game later, so just get
oh
excited.
no
For those fans who forgot about Dylan Darling, remember him.
for
You especially,
for me
Max. Stay away
for
from
me who
Google. Stay away from
forgot
Google about. Don't Google Dylan Darling's name.
oh god. But that's all I've really got for Profit. I
Oh
mean,
man.
he absolutely deserves all the kudos. He is the best player in Sac State. I know Mikey had a really decent start to the year in non-con. Like he had some really good games, but maybe not a decent start, but like decent halfway through. But I think Prophet Johnson's the best player on that team, and it really showed this week.
Yeah, and I'm up on the side screen for people watching at home. We got the Prophet Johnson Sac State homepage. Yeah, he wears the T-shirt under the jersey as like a non like. I love the way to like watching highlights. I don't like I don't I haven't watched like enough of their games to really analyze it. But he has such good on the court swag. With the it changes every game, but he wears the T-shirt under his jersey, which I think is a sick, really cool look. Like it reminds me of back when I was little, and I played basketball. It reminds me of myself little, right, Max? When I was like a freshman or maybe even a sophomore in high school, and I was still like 5'4". Puberty hadn't hit me yet, so I didn't have any armpit hair, and I didn't want the opponent to know that. So you got to put the baggy shirt under your jersey.
Does puberty
And
hit you yet?
I want it took a while. I was a late bloomer. We're still, you know what? We're still waiting for the growth spurt. Anyway, but yeah. Anyway, baggy shirt on the jersey. Prophet Johnson, he's got some swag, and if you're at home, go ahead, tune into some Prophet Johnson highlights. Crack open a cold one and watch a little, or just watch a Sac State game because they went from being a team we laughed about It's like a really
Mhm.
fun team. That's gonna bring me into my first point here in a second. Um, which is who is the fourth best team? Because Sac State all of a sudden might be. Right now they probably are, but um, we were laughing about them, and when Mikey Williams was their number one, we've talked about that a lot. They weren't good at all, and every now and then Prophet Johnson, and then Mikey got hurt. Prophet came in, played really well. Mikey came back. Yeah, they won both games without Mikey Williams. Then Mikey comes back, and they're like, actually, this guy's pretty good. But his play style is fun, and they sold out that game against Montana. I didn't know if there was a Quavo concert at halftime or not, but they sold it out. And that's what they said on their release. I was watching some highlights. It didn't seem like a in-house sellout, but
Mhm.
they claim to have sold it out. So that's you know maybe they sold it out to Ticketmaster, but it's still pretty cool. There's for a team like they have a lot of cool storylines with Mikey and Shaquille O'Neal and now Prophet Johnson and Mike Bibby and all that. But um, so like why there's fans there at the game, but to be it's cool to see any team drawing big numbers in the Big Sky. And I know Portland State had a pretty good turnout against the Grizz. They had a lot of football players shirtless there, so we know like the Montana schools, especially when they play each other, have good turnouts, and the Idaho schools do when they play each other. But it's good to see a school like Sac State doing that, and maybe because they're trying to watch the Prophet play. But yeah, like I was saying, who is the fourth best team in the Big Sky Conference? Is my question I posed to folks. Um, for a while, it looked like it might be Idaho, might be the Idaho Vandals. They have lost some not good games. They lost to Northern Colorado. They did lose on the road to their rival Idaho State, who has just lost a couple too many games to also maybe be the fourth best team. Northern
Mhm.
Colorado and net and early in the year had a chance to. They've lost too many games, which then brings up Weber State. But Weber State really they've played well, but they haven't really scratched the good teams in the conference. Like Idaho played Portland State a lot better than anyone, right? And they
Yeah.
got that win over the Cats too, right?
Yeah.
So they are, and but now Sac State, it's kind of all close and tied up with who might actually be if they keep winning games. All of a sudden, they could be the fourth, not just the fourth seed, but really who is that fourth best team? Because the fourth and the fifth seed play each other first round, and right now that sets up for like it could be the two Idaho schools playing, or Idaho Weber would be a pretty fun, gutsy game. But I wouldn't want
Mhm.
to be the team that really, with the way Sac State's playing right now, I wouldn't want to play them in the tournament. Like they've jumped past Eastern as like the low seed you don't want to have to play because Eastern we're gonna get to them in a second, but they had a bad weekend. But I think Sac State right now, if they stay where they are in the standings, not a team I want to draw to play first round. Obviously, they would have to do their play-in one, but yeah, they're kind of interesting. So I just kind of, I don't know who I think the fourth best team right now is, but I wouldn't want to play Sac State. But I would probably say it probably is Idaho right now. I don't know. What do you think, Max?
Um, yeah, I agree with you. Weber obviously they had the one game this week against Idaho State that they like fought and clawed for, and obviously Idaho State. Really like Idaho State, but I think they really haven't put a lot of it together. So to only barely win that one at home with Dame in the crowd, yes, it was a great game. It was a great game, awesome game. But like,
Yeah.
still, you do have to. Those are questions that you have to answer. Is how good are we if we're we're getting a game winner off of one of the bottom three teams in the at home at the bottom three
Yeah, with Dame
conference.
in the crowd, that's like,
But David, like, and I know Weber State does not have the same crowds they used to have. Obviously, this game in particular, like you can watch it. Crowd is not super great, and I think Weber State has one of the best arenas in the Big Sky. Their arena is awesome. It is a shame that place does not get packed out more often because I bet you the sound would just be unreal. And they don't pack if aren't packing out the games when your Hall of Fame the best Weber State athlete of all time, any sport. Arguably, I guess. I probably shouldn't say that, but I mean it's Damian Lillard. I mean, there's
yeah, it has
probably
to
very
be.
few ahead of him, but it's like Damian Lillard, and like for our Weber State fans, please let me know who's better than him. But like, um, men's or women's too, like any athletes, because actually I'd like to be more knowledgeable of that. But
Rochelle
I mean,
Sayers, she played at
no,
yeah,
yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
girl college coach. She's pretty good. That's my number
She's
two.
pretty. That's a good point. I forgot about her. But like still, like you never know because like
Yeah, maybe they hit
we
like an Olympian or something. But Dame was an
that's
Olympian.
that is actually yeah he did. It's yeah he is. Wait, yeah, what year was he on the Olympic team? Would
Let
that
me
be
Google that. Let me fact check
that?
that.
Yeah, because there's we just assume, but the Olympic teams are like Dame would have been like a bench warmer on the Olympic teams,
Oh, hold
unfortunately.
on. Fact check. Thank you, Google AI. Team USA at the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, which were actually in 2021, and gold medal. He averaged 11 points per game.
Really? Oh, there you go. See,
Yeah.
Tokyo Olympics. Thank you.
People forget about Damian Lillard on the Tokyo Olympics team.
Well, we were too busy. Everybody was way too busy worried about why Jason Tatum was.
Well, that was that year where Jason Tatum didn't.
That was yeah. Jason Tatum didn't. They were mentioning my boy for.
They were too. Yeah, they were too busy about. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he wore number 6 on the Olympic team. Um,
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
You're right.
He's oh
You're right.
wait, so here we go. He's the second ever Weber State athlete to compete in the Summer Olympics. Um,
Oh,
and he's the third athlete to win a gold medal and the first in men's basketball. I'd like maybe a follow up on who the other guys were Weaver State athletics, but it's all good. Congrats. So Dame was an Olympian.
okay. So it's a pretty high bar, is all I'm gonna say. And when you have that kind of guy in the crowd, and you're barely beating Idaho State, like you are a little worried. So I agree with you. I think it's probably Idaho. Sac State is still so terrible defensively.
Oh,
They're actually the worst defensive team. We'll get to another team who's pretty bad in just a second, but Sacramento State at least can score the ball at such a high volume when they're like really on. But like they are terrible defensively. They're like actually so bad. It's not even fun. Um,
yeah. Well,
but
the
other than
the big thing that jumps out at me is that we were just talking about Hornet Pavilion. The Sac State is 0-5 at home, or 0-5 on the road and 4-0 at home. And then both Idaho and Weber are 2-2. This is in conference are two and
yeah,
two on the road and 3-2 at home. So that just makes me think like neutral site, especially you start looking like who is actually the fourth best team, and you're looking for in Boise. That makes me want to give Idaho and Weber the edge. But
yeah.
if they played the conference tournament in Hornet Pavilion, we would have a different thing.
I'm very glad they don't play the conference tournament.
It
We
seemed like a fun gym.
I mean I'd love to watch a game there, but holy hell, they thought I mean Big Sky thought Reno was a good place to play.
If
Oh
anyone
gosh.
listening has been to both Reno and Sacramento, let us know which one's better.
You read. I don't know. I don't remember where they played the Big Sky tournament in Reno,
It
but
was somewhere terrible. That's all I know.
yeah. I wish the crowds were better, but I do actually really like. I do like that they play in Boise now. And Boise's actually a pretty cool city.
You
So
talk to some of the journalists who went and covered the game, or like people had to go play in Reno. They talk about like it was like Stalingard, like it was like the worst. Like they did a tour somewhere. I think it was like the worst experience of their life. Robin Selvig
Guantanamo.
retired. Robin Selvig went to Reno once and retired. He was like,
God.
"This, I'm not doing this."
Guantanamo Bay.
Yeah.
They got nothing on
Yeah.
Big Sky tournament in Reno, and
Try playing the morning game in Reno.
oh god, Big Sky Conference. The worst decision you ever made was putting it in Reno. Best decision is
Yeah,
getting it out of Reno, bringing it to
and
Boise.
we haven't said Starts Madness branding, but it is great. And like, I wish we had gone when it was Starts Madness Max, because they have like a bunch of cool merch and shirts from that. Like, I totally would have bought merch, but I didn't want to buy like just basic Big Sky. But Starts Madness
Yeah,
merch is sick.
we'll use the branding. Don't worry, we're big into.
Yeah.
I say Brawl of the Wild all the time, and that's a brand
Yeah,
name. So
no,
I'll
yeah. I just wish they had done it
we'll
a little earlier.
I know. Yeah. So don't worry, folks. We'll be all in on Starch Madness very very soon. It's sooner than we think. It's already February. So
Okay, so what's your next point after who the
um
fourth best team is? Since we decided it was maybe Idaho, but
yeah.
don't. Though
Um,
if Sac State's playing a Hornet Pavilion, they might be the second best.
yeah. Uh, I can tell you who is pretty far off from being the fourth best, and it has a lot to do with their defensive output. Unfortunately, it's the Eastern Washington Eagles, a team that we were really happy about last week,
Yeah, we were.
actually.
They're fun.
But this week, it was very evident to me that this is a team, much like Northern Colorado, and a big reason why those two teams are so low, it's the defense. Defensively, Eastern Washington, and this is the margin between their mainly the main thing for me is the margin between their offense and their defense is with Sacramento State, they allow a significant amount of points. They allow almost 82 points a game, which is more than Eastern Washington. I should point out they are the worst. Sacramento State is the worst in terms of total or points per game allowed by opponents. Um, but Sacramento State also puts up, and this will I think change as we go on. I don't know if this is probably this should be updated for. Actually, I don't know. I don't know if this is updated for this past Saturday and stuff, but um, if it's not, Sacramento State should be up in points. But they still average about two more points than Eastern Washington does per game against opponents. So Eastern Washington has the worst margin between offensive, just straight up points per game between offense and defensive numbers. And
That's not
that's
good.
one of those that's one of those things where obviously I don't want to put like a ton of stock into like kind of a so-so number like that, but honestly it says a lot to me about why Eastern hasn't been better. It's they have the ability to put up points every once in a while, and obviously Isaiah Moses is great, but this is a team that kind of suffered from uh and it kind of like if Montana is obviously much better defensively and has a lot of those things figured out, but like I think about it like this, like if you put if you have if Travis DeCure was not the coach of the Montana Grizzlies, like there'd be a lot more defensive issues if you look at like half of the like Big Sky coaches taking over this Montana team. And that's what I think is a lot of the problem with these Big Sky teams is they are not as refined defensively. They can put up points. All these teams put up a ton of points whenever they want to. But like the really good Big Sky coaches, really good Big Sky legacy teams are teams that are known for like defense, and Montana is one of those. Montana State has been known to be a really good stalwart defensive team, and I just Eastern is one of those teams that always puts up a ton of points. They always score a ton, but they're a team that historically I feel like they don't really play the defense game as well. That year that they lost to Northern Arizona with like Steel Venters and all those guys, that was a team that scored the ball like amazingly,
Hmm.
but they allowed NAU to put up. I want to find the number on it, but NAU put up numbers on them in that tournament game, and that's the thing is you have to be good defensively. You just have to be. Unless you're putting up like 90 a game like Sac State is doing right now, basically, um, then you have to play your defense. And Eastern is just not good defensively. They have to figure it out. Isaiah Moses is amazing, but he can shoot the lights out the gym and they'll still walk home in the dark. So it's gonna be really tough for these guys to put anything together late in the season if they can't figure that out. So that was my rant about Eastern, but they just need to figure it out defensively. It's just kind of egregious with the lack of help scoring that Isaiah gets most nights. They played really well against Portland State a couple weeks ago, but other than that, I mean, it is really tough to feel super optimistic about this team from a defensive standpoint. They're still going to win games. Isaiah Moses is going to have more really awesome performances, and they'll win in Cheney more. But it's a it's kind of an uphill battle right now for these guys, just based off of what we're seeing from the middle of the pack. And if they're trying to break through, I'm not optimistic about it. Even in games where they match up well, like I think they match up well against Weber State. I still think Weber State has them defensively by a mile at this point. So
Yeah, you're talking about that Eastern team. I went and looked at it that had won that lost in Arizona had they won 21 straight games at some point that year. They
Yeah.
were ridiculous. But you're
Mhm.
right. It was 81-80, which like is like pretty damn high scoring. And especially when you consider that there was only like uh two, three times in conference play when they even allowed another team to score 80 on them, which is
Yeah.
pretty crazy. And really all year they didn't even they played like Texas Tech that year and lost by 7. Like they did not allow teams to score that much on them, and all of a sudden, yeah, the defense was bad.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, and just something that jumps out to me on Eastern Washington. I pulled up this Ken looking at their Ken Palm account. They
Mhm.
298th in the country in defense, which is pretty
Yeah.
bad, pretty low. And I would Garner Beth probably one of the worst Big Sky teams, if not the worst. But even worse,
Yeah.
they're 357th in luck, which is
See,
bad.
I
And
know.
I definitely know that's a god that's not far from. There's only like 365 teams in the country, so not too far from the most unlucky team in the country, which is tough. And as someone who had actual, we're gonna get to our betting predictions at actual money. On that game, that was the first leg of my parlay. My picks going over 4 on Thursday. Watching those threes go in for NAU, you're like, oh yeah, like it was. My other picks didn't go well, so I couldn't be mad. Like this is why. But NAU was absolutely on fire from three, and like Eastern couldn't do anything. Like they just weren't missing from three. I think they were like they had like 8 for. I don't even think they hit a three in the second half, and they still won pretty easily. Like they were like 8 for 11 from three in the first half or something. It felt like I remember,
Yeah.
and I was just like, yeah, like that's in the game of basketball. That's how upsets happen. That's what makes it fun. Is like there is a luck quotient that comes into it, and you get a team that come hit a bunch of threes, and Eastern has a bad defense and they're unlucky. So hopefully for the
Mhm.
Eags, they can turn their luckiness around because they're a fun team when they're playing well. Um,
Yeah.
okay. Next point after Eastern Washington being bad, we still don't have our fourth best team. Um, I was gonna say it doesn't seem like there's kind of same point. It doesn't seem like there's a worse team in the conference. Like if you look, NAU is bad. They're probably the worst team in the conference. They only have
Mhm.
one conference win. But this weekend with NAU and then Northern Colorado coming back, like I said, it's any given week in the conference. But that kind of makes things pretty fun as we look ahead to our some of our picking. It makes things harder. Like that's kind of why we got burned. I feel like last week with some of our picks because like it really going into it seemed like NAU was the worst team and Eastern Washington wasn't great, but they were better than them. Obviously not true. It
Mhm.
seemed like Idaho was better than Northern Colorado. Northern Colorado is a really bad team. Northern Colorado beat Idaho. Like, pretty fun. That pick went wrong. It seemed like Sac State, like they got some wins over some not good teams. They beat Eastern and stuff, and you're like, oh, Sac State, like maybe they're not dead in the water, but like they're pretty bad, and they beat the Cats and the Grizz. So there isn't a worse team in the conference, and I think that's better. But it's fun to see. We were talking about like that there isn't a team that just has completely given up and let anyone walk over them. I don't think there's too much of a threat. I guess Sac State took down some of the top teams in the conference this week, but like I don't think
Mhm.
Eastern or NAU. I guess Eastern. I guess we saw beat too. So uh, or was it MSU that Eastern beat? I don't remember which. Oh, MSU that Eastern beat. No, they beat and they yeah
It was UM. Yeah.
yeah they beat but yeah, so Eastern even at home they're fiery too. So I'm just saying it's fun to see and something I'll have to keep an eye on with our picks going forward. These teams can get feisty, especially when they're playing at home. So yeah, it's always fun that there isn't a team like NAU on paper looks like that, but even they got a win on Thursday. So it's always fun when there isn't a bunch of teams that have quit in the conference. And I know some of those teams know they can still get better seeds in the tournament, so they're still playing hard.
Yeah. I agree. I think NAU, yeah, they've been getting a lot of flack this year, but they're not terrible defensively either. Like they allow a lot of threes is the really big problem for them. Like they allow the most threes, I think is what I saw. Yeah, they allow the most threes by like over 20. Um, I feel like honestly, if they close that up a bit, I feel like they just like defend. They defensively they're fine. They allow too many threes and they just don't score the ball super well. So, um,
Yeah, and they've kind of been snake bit by injury and have had to play a bunch of freshmen. And I think they had a walk on when I was watching that game against Eastern Washington, like in their starting lineup, which
yeah,
not a great scenario, but it's fun to see them play. And NAU is another team that has been really they haven't won a game on the road this year, so
yeah. I feel like if
neither
you're
is
like
Sac
Arizona,
State. Let's just remember that when I'm making my picks.
yeah, I feel like I feel like if you're Arizona State or Arizona, you ever think like, oh, you know what? Let's let one of our like bench guys drop. Let them play for NAU for a week or two, and then bring them back up. And
Like the
I feel like the
JV.
NCAA, yeah, I feel like the NCAA, like the rules are just out the window. Why don't you just start making Why don't we just start our mid-major teams? They become minor league teams, and then these like big programs they send there, and then
Well,
we can get
with
Bryce
with our
James.
guessing game at the end, you're about to find that out. You're about to find that
Oh,
out that it might already be that way.
all right. Jeez. Okay.
All right. Did you have a final point to talk about besides that there's a worse team, but it's fun that the bad teams are kind of feisty.
Yeah, they're feisty. My last point is I think the Big Sky MVP race is kind of busted open. We were talking about starting the year like Jalen Henderson was kind of the guy, but
Not
he
anymore.
might not even be the guy on his own team either. Like we got him. Trayvon Minot's been pretty solid in spats, but obviously probably maybe not there. But like I think about it like this: like the Big Sky MVP is always one of the most fun races for any mid-major conference because, like we just mentioned, guy like Dylan Darling, who like can I this guy
Don't look
can't
him
be
up.
over.
No, you're not allowed to Google Dylan Darling. Don't do that.
Man, why? I
Do
just
you
want
want
to see how
to?
tall he
I can
was.
give you a number. How many points did he score last year? Is that what you want?
Yeah, I want to see how many points he scored last year and how tall he was.
He averaged 19.8 points per game last year.
Okay, and
And
can I know
I'll
his
look up his
height?
height. He's probably like my height,
Okay,
5'8", probably.
that was the
He's
thing
six.
is I'm
He's
like
6'1", 175 on listed roster. So
okay, six, okay. I
he
sorry,
was
Dylan
six
Darling.
two on Wazoo's roster. So he's lost an inch since he gone.
Okay, I'm gonna be super for real with you. Don't think he is 6'2". Do not think he's 6'2".
Okay,
He plays. He does not play like he's 6'2". He plays smaller than that.
he
But
reminds me of myself.
yeah, like so, like that's the thing though is like you have a guy like Dylan Darling who might be 6'1", maybe more close to 6 foot, winning the Big Sky MVP, almost averaging 20. Oh, by the way, almost 20 is the Big Sky MVP. Not to say there aren't other stats that matter, but I'm like that's like when you're not you don't even need to average 20 a game. You just have to have a lot of other things go your way. Idaho State wasn't even that good when he was playing, and he still won it. So I don't know. I just feel like this is a race that is always kind of busted open halfway through the conference season, and we're right about there. We're right in that mid conference season spit, and I don't really know. I still think like Danker's fallen off. Obviously,
Yeah,
he
he's
had
had
a
one too many bad games. I think I'd rule him out.
yeah, like that's the thing is like Danker's probably out, and he had 35 this week, but then the next game on Saturday he had 9 points. Like that's the crazy thing is like he did like Money Williams still probably in there in that conversation. You have a guy like Jed Miller who's probably in that conversation as well. What?
I love Jed Miller more than most people do in the biggest guy. He is not. I don't think he's allowed.
I don't know. I mean, if MSU ends up who's going to be the guy if MSU
That's a
takes
good
the
point. If MSU wins the conference, maybe we'll throw him a first team all conference bone. I don't know if we're giving him the old most valuable player award.
why do you think Pat McMahon deserves it more than he does?
We just talked about Dylan Darling didn't do it. Like I
Yeah.
don't think they're gonna give it. If Montana State wins the conference, I just don't think a Bobcat's gonna be the Big Sky MVP.
I may be more high on Jed Miller.
Okay, to me it's a three-horse race, but you tell me who your MVP candidates are right now.
I don't know. I still feel like I don't know. I still feel like I need to I forget what the stats were for Jalen, but like I think right now I still have to go with Jalen Henderson because he is the guy for Portland State. Maybe if he's had a couple of so-so games, but him, and then I think Money Williams is still up there. I think Money Williams even like I still like he his bad game is he still gets like 17, 18 points a
Yeah.
game is a bad game for him. I'm like that's I still feel like in the Montana's third, there's a good chance they'll bump up to two. If MSU drops some tough games, obviously Montana did, but like Montana State are right there, and Money Williams is the best player out of those two teams' entire rosters, and I feel like Money Williams would be the best player on any team he played for in the Big Sky, in my opinion. So I think he's up there. And then, do I want to be crazy with this? Do I want to like? Do I want to? I feel like I gotta throw Profit a bone. I feel like he's got to be up
Yeah,
there.
no,
Like
Prophet Johnson deserves at least a look at MVP.
yeah,
If he keep
I
well,
think
yeah, he's 2 points down from points per game, but if he keeps putting up like 27 every other night, I think he's gonna be by the end of the year top three in scoring.
yeah. Yeah, I think I have got one guy for the best team in the conference. I think it's got to be Jalen Henderson. I know he's not had some great games, but I feel like you have to give a nod to the guy who kind of is like the head of this team, in my opinion. Money, because money. I mean, he was in the conversation last year. He There's a decent chance he'll win it this year. If he keeps this up, he's not really had he's had bad games, but like I said, the bad games are not as bad as some of the top players in the Big Sky's bad games. Um, he has way better bad games than Jalen Henderson does, and I still think Jalen Henderson should be in that. And then Profit, and then I do think Jed Miller. Yes, we were joking about. I do think Jed Miller should at least get notice because he is the top player for Montana State. But that's my that's my hot take is Jed Miller should at least get some consideration because that Montana State's team is still really good, and he is certainly deserves a lot of credit for that. So
Yeah, I
um,
think the last episode we do before they announce like the first team, we'll do like a tournament preview, but then like before they announce the first team and all that, I think we should try to guess all the superlatives and see how we do. But yeah, for me, it's a three-horse race. I think it's Money Williams. He's probably number one in my book right now because he leads the conference in scoring and he's third in assists. Um,
yeah.
and no one else is top three in both of those. Two, I think you like Henderson. I think he was a really good non-con player, but I think like you look at conference MVP, I think it has to be Terry Miller Jr. for Portland. It was crazy they have two candidates, but
Yeah,
because right now in conference scoring he's second,
right.
um, and he's also top 10 in rebounds, and I think he's also top 10 in assists, which is as a big guy pretty good. So yeah, he's been pretty good for them. And
Mhm.
then I think Denker's had too many bad games. I think Moses is on maybe too bad of a team. And then yeah,
Yeah.
Prophet Johnson's honestly my third if he just keeps like going nuts scoring like he has. He's just not
Mhm.
as great of an assist guy as everyone else. He's ninth in assists in the conference.
Yeah.
Um, I, but he leads the conference in steals. So okay. Yeah. So those are my top three right now. I'd probably say that right now for me right now it's Money Williams. Is that you're saying? Who's your MVP right now? It's wide open, I guess, is what you're kind of saying.
No, it is wide open. I'd pick Money, but I agree with you. I
Yeah, it's
think
interesting.
like yes, there are guys who obviously like you look at a guy like even like Tijan Sane or like because it's like you look like obviously those guys are not going to probably be Big Sky MVPs, but like these are guys who are very clearly the heads of their team, and especially if you're getting into the top four seeds, I if you're the Big Sky Conference, I feel like you have to at least look at all the leaders on those like top 4 or 5 teams and say like, okay, what's their impact? How have they helped get their team there? Because I feel like if we're looking at the most valuable player has to do something to elevate their team, which is why I think maybe last year the Dylan Darling thing was maybe a little surprising to me. but he was great. He played well, and that's no slight to him. But it's also like, to me, I do feel like there is a level of team success. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to be the one seed. There is a level of team success where I feel like you have to really consider, like, okay, when are these guys, when are we going to start considering these guys? Um, Danker obviously still has like in the points per game numbers where he's in the top five. But again, like there's that team aspect where he has had too many bad games and they're also not that good. They're, I mean, bottom three. They're the second worst team. So, but now that you have a Sac State that's up there, Prophet Johnson top five, he's probably only going to go up, assuming this is consistent. And yeah, so I do think an Isaiah Moses is certainly like a guy you should look out for, just because he is really consistent. Like I don't know if he's scored how many times he scored under 20 this year, but it can't in conference play. I bet you it's only like once or twice.
Yeah, he's
Like
he's really deserving of at least a first team all conference nod right now, I
yeah,
think, just with how
for sure,
well he's done.
for sure. But yeah, that's my opinion on it. Is the Big Sky race is open, and um, don't be surprised if someone crazy gets it. I feel like we just got to keep watching out. We got to keep watching for those guys. Um, but I mean, if Prophet Johnson wins it and Sac State finishes even like sixth, I mean, if he's averaging 23, 4+ points a game, I mean, who's more deserving than that? I mean, how often do you have a guy in the Big Sky who averages that much? It's honestly pretty rare. Even when Dylan Jones was in the NBA or was in the Big Sky Conference, like Dylan Jones he wasn't like he wasn't even putting up like he was well rounded, but like
Man, he wasn't
scoring,
even like the leading scorer, yeah.
no, he was like never the leading scorer, and that's okay because he was good at a million other things, and that's why he was drafted. But like that's the thing is like when you have a guy like that and they even break into like that top 5, 6 with their team. I mean, that guy should probably get it. Robert Johnson, if he keeps this up, then I mean, I would not be. I would not surprise me at all if he was if he was the front runner. But right now it's Money Williams because he's been way too he is way too consistent, and even when he's inconsistent, he's really good. So that's my pick.
Prophet too, he's played 3 years of Division 1 ball.
Mhm,
Southern Utah, Fairfield, Sac State, final
mhm.
journey. Um, so that means he played somewhere not D1. I wonder if he gets another. He's listed as a senior, but I wonder if he gets another year. That'd be kind of fun. I hope he does, and goes somewhere fun or stays at Sac State. We'll see. Depends what conference they're
Yeah.
in.
God, I'm actually I know it's a contrary to popular belief, but I am actually sad Sac State's leaving. I think Sac State and Montana, like watching it like in the past couple of years, that rivalry has been really fun. I know Montana people really do not like Sac State, and Sac State, they kind of have that like us against the world mentality, which to be fair, they're very unpopular right now in a lot of levels, but um, it just sucks that Sac State is leaving, and in their place, we're getting Southern Utah and Utah Tech, who
Yeah,
are they are the bottom feeders of the WAC, a 7-team conference that is terrible. Like that, it's just sucks to see a team like that leave. As much as people don't like them, it's fun. They always do fun stuff. They always do random things like hire Mike Bibby, have Shaq, have a Quavo concert after a football game. Like that's like no other Big Sky team does that. That's fun. That's fun to me. If there are some old heads who think that's stupid, whatever. But it's fun, and instead we're getting uh, two teams that are pretty unremarkable, unfortunately. And we'll talk a lot about them next year. But I'm
yeah, we
not
will.
super
Yeah,
not
I
a big
think I
fan.
agree with that take completely. I know a lot of people point at Sac State's president, and he's kind of just like a wrestling heel, kind of, and I like what he's doing. Um, I do feel like maybe he didn't consult like the football coach before he said some things he said this year and did some things he did, or consult
Yeah,
like someone who would know if they could get somewhere in FBS before he guaranteed it.
Mhm.
Oh, because the basketball thing actually is working a little bit, or than
Yeah.
people think. They're competitive and they're fun. And they just sold out the game.
Mhm.
Football thing worked for a little bit, but they were just bad from the jump in football, and they've been pretty bad from the jump in basketball. But they've kind of turned it around a little bit.
Mhm.
I think some of the guys and maybe they kind of like it. Like I'm sure Prophet Johnson and Mikey Williams eat up being like maybe villains, whereas the football team maybe didn't. And yeah, Utah Tech and Southern Utah, especially in basketball, nothing fun, and football, nothing really fun about them. I will say though, back when Southern Utah was still in the Big Sky, they did have a couple good basketball teams for a while there. They had a couple competitive teams, but they never won the conference. But they had some teams that were pretty fun. Um, and I
Yeah.
know both those schools, especially, is it Utah Tech that's coming to the conference?
They're Utah Tech and Southern Utah are
Yeah,
both
Utah
coming.
Tech's in a, both of them are in kind of cool. Cedar City sucks, but like where like to get to. But I think Utah
Oh,
Tech's in like St. George, which is pretty cool. It'd be cool if they could
it,
kind of figure out how to, make some more regional rivalry and just like, make things fun. But we can talk about that another day, especially when they come into the conference and we start to look at their teams. Um,
I
yeah, the last point I had before we get into bracketology was just that, I don't like to be a guy who's like mad at referees. It's a hard job, and I know Big Sky, it's probably pretty low draw if you're a referee in the West, and a lot of hard travel. And like on any given Thursday night game, I can understand it's not fun to do your job as a referee. And I, for one, could never be a referee. So just put that out there. But with that being said, there was just like, and it's always been a problem with how they officiate the Big Sky. And Montana is always going to be a team, because I'm talking about the Montana Portland State game, always going to be a team that picks up a lot of fouls, how they play defensively often. But something that happened in the Montana game, because I did watch that whole game. The first half was really, really fun, and Montana was playing really, really well. And Portland State was not playing well, but it was physical and it was fun. And then the second half, just something switched, and they just started, just calling a bunch of fouls. Which, if you call a bunch of fouls and you do it in the first half, it's fine. But they just like weren't fouls in the first half, and if anything, at points it felt like they were almost just trying to help Portland State maybe stay in the game from like a competitive advantage. Um, like maybe Portland State's coach went to him and was like, "Hey, like we're like getting outnumbered, and it's because they're like really being too physical and fouling us." And the ref's like, "Okay, like sure, like let's give it to him back." Or like you missed a call down there, maybe. But there's just some stuff that I was like, man, like at the end of the day, like I don't call for playing tackle football on the court, which at points it was in the game. But like I'm always a fan of having the the best guys on the floor. Like I want everyone's. I don't want too many guys to foul out, but I hate it. Like if a team's hacking and stuff, that's unfair too. So it got caught both ways, and it was just kind of baffling to me that Portland State, which Terry Miller and Trayvon Minot are two guys who are like always in foul trouble, and like every game they play, and so I'm sure they really feel this too, like Montana does, like just big guys who always draw fouls, and Sawyer and is always in foul trouble for Montana. It feels like. But it's kind of shocking to me to see like, oh, so a bunch of Montana guys are like Money Williams has 5 fouls, but like these two big guys who every game are in foul trouble aren't, was kind of shocking to me. But that's how it goes. So I just want to get on a little stool and say like, hey, I just kind of wish there's a little more continuity throughout all the games, and especially I think sometimes that can be where Big Sky schools, as we get to look at bracketology, suffer, is they play in this tournament that has a conference that sometimes has a bunch of really ticky tacky fouls, and their big guys are always in foul trouble, and then they play like a Big Ten school where like you know those can be a lot of good bigs in those conferences, like. As we were talking about Montana, not the or talking about MVP, it's like not that many bigs in it, right? Like other conferences where they let them play a little more, especially in the post, just dominate the teams that make it to the tournament just because they're undersized, but also they're under physical because they don't want to foul out. But really, it's the other teams are used to these refs that they're getting, and they're not fouling out, right? Because they have those NCAA tournament refs that probably ref the high conference games. But yeah, that's just my
yeah.
my soapbox.
Mhm.
Okay, bracketology. ESPN has number 14 still, Portland State against Gonzaga, but in Portland, which
Oh,
should be fun. Gonzaga, though, is number 4 in net rankings, number 6 AP team in the country. They've only lost one game all year, and it was to Michigan, which is the number 1 team. Um, in the country. They're 11th in Ken Palm, so maybe a Ken Palm deficiency, but they're pretty high in everything. A really good defensive team if you look at their Ken Palm. So yeah, Max, that's one. And then the other matchup we can pick between is based on net ranking. Portland State dropped to a 15 seed, and they played Nebraska, which would be number two, Nebraska, who are number seventh in net, number five in AP, and they are. What happened to their Ken Palm ranking? Oh, this could be our team, Max. We've already said
I
Nebraska's who we want them to play.
yeah,
Nebraska. Nebraska. Oh, they're
this
12th in Ken Palm, so one behind Gonzaga. Um, and that would be in St. Louis, I think. That bracket doesn't really give regions, but I did some translating. So we like Nebraska, but um, yeah. So what do you think?
yeah. So here's the thing. There's there's a decent chance there's more Gonzaga fans in Portland than there are Portland State fans that would go to that game. And I don't want to be mean to Portland State fans, but I'll be honest. Gonzaga fans, one, travel well, and two, are willing to spend the money. They're willing to put up the price tag. I can guarantee you, if you're a Portland State Viking, uh, like you'll want to show up to this game. You'll want to shell out the money to watch them play in your home city. But it's Gonzaga. They own the Pacific Northwest when it comes to basketball. For a lot of people who hear about Gonzaga and don't know much about them, I understand people don't. There are a lot of people who don't know where Spokane, Washington is. But if you live in this part of the country, you know where Spokane, Washington is, and you know what Gonzaga basketball is all about. That place, the kennel is insane. The fans are rabid, and they're cocky as hell. They are like, I've never met a fan base that thinks they're going to win everything every single year. Like legitimately, this is a rabid fan base, and I would not want to play Gonzaga as my opening game. Even in my home, if they were playing, if Montana was playing Gonzaga in Missoula, I would be scared. I would be legitimately scared. That's like the amount of Gonzaga fans that show up for this stuff is insane. So just and Montana fans are really good too, but Gonzaga is a different breed. They are legitimately a different breed. So Nebraska, I've crapped on 2 seed Big Ten or Big 12 teams that get upset in the first round, and Nebraska, they just dropped like their first game I think recently. Um, we're not.
To
Oh,
number
sorry,
one Michigan, yeah.
they
But
dropped
both
to
both
Michigan.
teams' only losses to number one Michigan, both Nebraska and
No, it says Nebraska. Nebraska lost a. They lost a second game.
hold the phone. Did they lose two
I
games this weekend?
they may have, yeah, they lost to number 9 Illinois too.
That shows how much
So
you're watching. No.
we're mid major guys. We don't
You don't
watch.
care. I don't care what's going on in Big Ten
I
basketball.
only I was the only reason I knew that Virginia Tech and Duke were playing a close one the other night was because it was on at the gym. So
Yeah,
it's
I didn't even
that
go to
was
your
actually,
gym
thank you.
because
Yeah,
they don't
yeah,
ever
that
have
was a
sports on at mine. Tell you
they
what.
were there was I was hitting the overhead press and I was looking up and I saw Cam Boozer, and Hokie Nation was roided out, freaking going crazy at him. So, but anyways, regardless, I think Portland State. I like them against Nebraska, even though St. Louis, Missouri isn't like that far, I guess, from Nebraska. It's far enough. It's closer to Illinois. They're playing Illinois, it'd be a different story because the Urbana Champagne's not that far. I know that for a fact. Um, but uh, yeah, I'll end my rant, but I think Nebraska better be scared if they play Portland State in the first round is a 2-15.
Yeah, just a real quick looking at both the teams' schedules. As you said, Gonzaga played a really good non-con compared to Nebraska. Actually, Gonzaga's 45th non-conference strength of schedule in Ken Palm. Nebraska's 305 strength of schedule. That's like the only metric looking at
What?
those two. Yeah, 305 strength of
Are,
schedule.
are you?
That's why they
Who did
were
they?
undefeated, not ranked. They played. This is how they started their year: West Georgia, Florida International, Maryland Eastern Shore. Not exactly
My
great teams that they traveled to play there. Um,
yeah,
their
I'm
first
looking.
road game wasn't until December 13th, and that was
These
in
guys are.
conference play. They didn't play a single road game on conference.
I mean, they did beat Illinois, which is a great win for them on the road. But
Yeah,
like
earlier in the
they're
year.
they're frauds. They're
Yeah,
frauds.
yeah.
Don't.
They did play
Oh my.
North Dakota, which is about as close as we have to them playing a bad North Dakota. I'm pretty sure North Dakota is not great in a conference, or I think they're okay, but and they beat
They're
them. Gonzaga didn't play any Big Sky team. They played future Big Sky team Southern Utah, who they beat 122 to 50.
yeah. It doesn't surprise. I think Southern Utah's the second worst in the WAC. I think Utah Tech's the worst. So
But
um
they beat Kentucky. Gonzaga did at home, and they beat Creighton, who's 23rd at home, or I don't that might have
yeah.
been Central or neutral, but yeah. So we can both agree on who we like in bracketology there, and that is still Nebraska is still our perfect bracket, if not a first four matchup against a really bad conference team to get that to break the 20 years and counting.
I
Okay,
really want one of these to be a. I'm. I really want one of these to be a first four. I'm really hoping like I don't want Portland State to drop a bunch of games, but if they do, and then Montana State drop some games, it'd be really funny to see like Idaho or Weber State as like a first four against like the University of South Carolina upstate or something.
well that's what happened with MSU when they played Grambling.
Yeah, they should have won that game, but they freaking. I won't use any. I've been trying not to swear as much, but they kind of shit the bed, frankly.
Yeah.
They like
Well, and what you don't want to
completely.
happen is like be because every year there's like those not bid stealers but teams that upset and like go in as like the worst team and a not great or like a not good team and a not good conference like not the one seed.
Yeah,
You don't want to be ranked as better than those teams because then you play the 116 against Michigan.
yeah, that would be. I yeah, do
Yeah.
not love that.
You want that first.
Uh,
You want that first four game. So anyway, last week we did the future Big Sky players draft. One of the guys on my team, Brandon Dwyer, actually liked our social media post. I don't think he's listening to this now. I highly doubt it, but shout out Brandon, and I can't wait to see you as a. I forgot which team I put him on. I think I put him on Montana State. Yeah, future Bobcat Brandon Dwyer.
we're gonna petition for an extra year of eligibility for you,
get
Brandon.
get him another
I
year.
swear. Send it
Okay,
if you have a petition, send it to us.
but anyway, I thought fun drafts like that were fun. So we're gonna do another one, and this is a draft of should have been in the Big Sky draft. So these are guys who are already NBA players, um, specifically role players, as we're going to find out, hopefully, who did not play in the Big Sky. There's not very many Big Sky guys between the NBA and the G League. We should actually look that up sometime. But these are guys who would be really fun if they played in the Big Sky Conference, and specifically guys who maybe, based on their college or NBA careers, could have used to play in the Big Sky Conference. Maybe could have scored more in college, or could have used an extra year in college before they went to the NBA too early. So yeah, examples of maybe past guys, and I acknowledge that pretty much every NBA player, if not every NBA player, would be the best player in the Big Sky Conference. So, but anyway, some past examples: Matthew Dellavedova. No, he played at St. Mary's, but he was a glue guy. He would have been fun in the Big Sky. Dennis Rodman's a role player type guy. Would have been fun. He played D2. For some reason, I feel like Sean Marion with his shot form. I think he was probably a dog in college wherever he played. But like the kind of thing you might see in the Big Sky Conference. So anyway, Max, you always get the first pick of these drafts because I come up with them. I don't want my teams to be too good, even though looking back on last week's team was pretty bad. Eli Ellis, point guard, bad. So anyway, who is your number one pick and should have been NBA players but was not, or Big Sky
First,
players?
Sean Marion, I just want to point out, he started his college career at Vincennes University, and then he transferred up to UNLV. So he would have been
He could have been a
perfect for
Dolphins
this.
guy. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I don't want to. Dude, whoever, yeah,
Oh
whoever
man.
former Vincennes teammates of Sean Marion, type in the comments, was he killing people at like whatever the hell level that is they play at?
I would not want to know what his shot form was like back then.
So here's my first pick. This is, I don't know if he might be the best. He's probably the best player on my team. He is a career role player. He starts a lot this year, but he is a career role. He's a career role player. Um, and I kind of have to go with a guy who's close to my heart. I got to go with Derek White. Is my first
Oh
my first pick.
man.
So
Derek
Derek White.
White.
So here's my reasoning for Derek White. So
Okay.
he was a super like like not super highly rated recruit coming out of Colorado. He like the high school he went to was like super new. Nobody knew who he was. He also was only like 6 feet coming out
Okay.
of high
Yeah,
school.
I see.
And then, and then he ended up going to a Division II school. He got a like growth spurt, and he ended up playing super well at it was CSU Pueblo in the
Oh,
RMAC. And so he ended up transferring up to Colorado. He was like a late first round pick in the NBA, but he's a guy who I imagine would have transferred to like Northern Colorado, would have been like a guy who would have transferred up, played in that level, and been really good there. We talked a lot about those Northern Colorado guys who like just always like go off,
yeah, he would have
have
been
a
a
really,
great bear.
yeah. So like that is my reasoning for Derek White. He's this like a Division II guy who made the jump to Division I and was like okay for like a bad Colorado team. Probably would have like lit up the big sky,
Immediately
but
rainy. You're
um,
good.
yeah, that's my pick. That's probably, I'd like to think that's my best player, but I don't know. It might get a little controversial down the way, but I think Derek White's probably
No, I
my
think
pick.
that's
My
that's a great pick, especially like you talk about a guy who was D2 at first. Like he would have been so fun if he actually just went to like Northern Colorado for 2 years and tore it up, and then went like a late round, first round pick. My first pick is also probably gonna be my best player. It's a guy who actually did play power four and was pretty good in power four, but not in a point scoring way, and that's because Draymond Green, I think,
Oh, I like that. That's a good
yeah,
pick.
and especially like he was pretty unrefined when he was younger, and he was
Mhm.
more of a scorer, and his size, like he would be really, really good. But I think like
Yeah.
back, I think you said Derek White's a Northern Colorado guy. I think Draymond Green would have been like really good on some of those Eastern Washington teams as like an agitator back in the day. Back when they had
Yeah.
Shante Leggins, he would have been like and that was pre Draymond Green era, but he would have been the perfect guy to just go out there and like stir it up. He would have been great. So I think Draymond Green, Eastern Washington's a guy that like Tim Aiken, who used to play for Eastern Washington, was kind of like the big sky as Draymond Green back in the day. Like he was a power forward who was big, did a lot of things well, but he
Mhm.
also was like more of an agitator. Like he once got a technical because he shoved the cheerleader, I think, something like that.
Oh,
Like in Montana, I was at a game. He backed into a
yeah,
cheerleader and then like flopped, and then like a male cheerleader from got ejected. It was a pretty crazy game.
brilliant. That's
Yeah.
what I love to hear.
That was a great game. That was back when Eastern and Montana were like real competitive with each other. So yeah, that's my pick too. Okay, who do you want next?
Next I'm going for. I talked about this guy earlier off cam. He's also a power four guy, but he was a guy who wasn't really that good at power four. But he was also young. He was super young. But he is like, to me, kind of feels like the perfect blend of like foreign player that would have played. This guy feels like he would have been like one of the foreign guys who plays for either. He would have been a foreign guy who either would have played for UM or MSU. And I'm going with Johnny Furphy, who plays for the Pacers right now. Uh, Johnny
Johnny Furphy was a
Furphy,
dog in Kansas, but yeah,
he was like a bench guy though. He's a bench guy for
I watched
for
him do. I
for.
watched him live against Iowa State in Hilton Coliseum. I thought he was pretty good.
He's pretty good, but he's also like you're saying role
Okay,
players in the
you
NBA.
can have Johnny Furphy. He would have
He's
been a
a
dog in
very
the Big
role
Sky.
player in the NBA though. But he kind of feels like the kind of guy like you'd put like I think well because like MSU had all of the British dudes for a while, and
Yeah.
then had all the Australian dudes, and I feel like Johnny Furphy would have been like an Australian guy they would have put on the roster. The thing is, he unfortunately probably would have like not played as much as he should have played at Montana, and then he would have transferred out. Because that's what always happens with those guys. Um, but Johnny Furphy's like the Australian guy that Travis DeCure somehow finds and is like, oh, this guy's cool. We'll play him. We'll play him 10 minutes a game, and he'll score
Yeah,
really
but
well.
can
But
he
then
play defense is the big question.
yeah, that is the one thing that I maybe why I think he would rather play for like he might actually be better on like Weber State like in that Vistarinen role where he's just like a guy who's just like absolutely like lights out like shooter can really like you can plug him in wherever and he's obviously fits the like foreign player that fits in the starting lineup role, but I don't know, I feel like Johnny Furphy feels like a guy who would just like come in to the Big Sky, probably play less than he deserved to play, and then transfer up. But luckily for him, they didn't get him early. Kansas was like, "Oh, we're not going to let this guy go to Weber State. We're going to let
Yeah,
him."
KU. That's what you
Yeah,
were saying.
Bill Self was really worried. He was really worried. He saw the Big Sky schools start to look at him. They were like, "Oh, this guy might be something
You
else."
know,
But he is also,
I don't think it's a good fit, but he kind of looks like Colton Mitchell on Idaho.
oh sure,
They
I get.
have a similar look. I know Johnny Furphy's probably a lot taller than because Johnny Furphy is 6'7".
Uh oh yeah,
Or
he is
actually,
pretty.
he was listed as 6'9" out of high school, Johnny Furphy, but he
He's
does
six
look a lot
eight.
like Colton Mitchell. Um,
He does.
Johnny Furphy's
He
been
does.
recruited since 2023. He got offered in 2023, and then he got offered by Kansas and then Charleston, College of Charleston. So a bit of a recruiting battle.
Yeah.
Providence, Marquette, Ole Miss, and he committed to Kansas. So actually, you're right. Like he kind of was a bit of an under the radar guy. So yeah,
I
it's a good
I
pick.
wanted to pick one random foreign dude
Okay,
that, but
I got a couple
he's
foreign guys on my team.
okay. Who's your next
Starting
pick
with
then?
another one, Bismack Biombo.
Oh, where did
Because he still plays in the NBA. Fun fact. Um,
yeah
he had a good run on the Raptors. He got in a Drake song, but he's like been a career role player. But he's the
sure.
kind of guy who just like feels like would be on like the Northern Colorado roster, and you're like, did how did they just like find this guy? They used to have this guy named Kerr Joe Cooch back in the day, who
Oh
transferred to Temple. Um, it's similar vibe, like just a huge bald. I guess Bismack might not be bald, but like just a huge dude, like a huge center that's like super athletic and just like is good for like a couple putback dunks a game. Like you don't want to leave
mhm.
him open for an alley oop. Might pull the whole rim down. And so Bismack, rather than getting drafted late in the NBA and kind of being a journeyman, maybe he could have like had a couple years where he was like the number one option. Like he was I think he could have handled being like the guy on campus, Bismack Biombo. So he's gonna be on my team.
Nice. I like that. Um, alrighty. My next guy. This guy actually. Well, I guess what I think he played. I need to see. I need to do a fact check before I make this claim. Oh, how long has he been coaching there for?
What do you mean, coach?
Oh, sorry. I wanted to make a Big Sky connection,
Okay.
but I don't want to say it. Uh, oh yeah, no, I was right. Okay, okay, he's been there for a while. So this guy does have a Big Sky connection. I was looking up how long Wayne Tinkle's been at Oregon State, and he's been there
Oh.
for a lot longer than I realized. He's been there since 2014. Um, they're no longer in the power. They're no longer in the power. What was the Power Five? Rest in peace, the Pac-12. But I'm going to go with a former Oregon State Beaver. Actually, a guy who played under a former Big Sky coach, a guy who I think would be perfect for the Josh Bannon era of Montana basketball. Drew Eubanks.
That's a good pick right there.
he's 6'10". He'd be like the tallest guy in the Big
Yeah.
Sky Conference, and he would do they'd set up like the dumbest offenses. He'd do like they'd play like high post. They just feed it to him. He just back it in, and then it'd be like 5 seconds on the shot clock, and he'd throw it out to whoever's at the top of the arc, and then they miss a three and then get back on defense. That's my next pick.
That's not a bad pick at all. Drew Eubanks should have been on my team, bro.
I wanted to pick like a legit big man, and I was like, oh, this guy's like perfect. Um, and he has the Big Sky connection. So if Wayne Tinkle was tired, if like in theory Wayne Tinkle was tired of him, he's like, all right, go play at my alma mater, and he still probably would have been pretty good there. I mean, I don't know what his like recruiting was like, but so he was the number one. He was rated number one in the state of Oregon.
Yeah,
So
so
he was the best.
probably not a guy who's ever gonna come to the Big Sky, but
But there's a lot of number one guys who don't pan out. I mean, we look at football and you look at a guy like Jaden Rashada, and that guy didn't even start at Sac State. So you never know. If Drew Eubanks had a worse luck, like
yeah, he could
he
have also like went there and like been bad and then transferred down to Sac State, Montana.
exactly. That's what I think would be the reason. If we're thinking about reasonable scenarios, Drew Eubanks probably would have played. Yeah, he would have like gone to Oregon State and would have been terrible. And then Wayne Tinkle has the Montana connection, would have connected him to Travis DeCure, and DeCure would have been like, oh sweet, free 6'10" guy. He's already the tallest player in the Big Sky. So yeah, that's my third pick, Drew Eubanks.
Okay, I'm gonna go off script a little bit because I'm looking at my team. I have like four guys left that I can choose from. And I think I like the back three better, and I'll honorable mention the other one. You got to
Hmm.
hear me out on this one. Kyle Kuzma.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
because Kyle Kuzma played at Utah, and he was like pretty good at Utah. But like famously, Lonzo Ball did not know. I played against Kyle Kuzma in college like twice in 1 year, and didn't like remember him because he was pretty good at Utah, but he wasn't great. Also, I read he redshirted his first year at Utah because he like enrolled late. The Big Sky
Okay.
Conference, they don't make you redshirt because of that. You can just walk onto the team a little easier than that. So I think he also would have been a Montana Grizzly for some reason. Like he just like is Kyle Kuzma from California? I don't know because that would set up my recruiting connection here because he could have been a Decuir guy. But
That's a
Kyle Kuzma, hometown of. Actually, I'm
uh,
probably not gonna say it. Is it? Oh,
Flint, Michigan. Flint, a little far off.
okay, ignore that part. But anyway, Kyle Kuzma, like he was in 3 years in Salt Lake City. He could have been like 2 years at Montana, like really good. Not end up on the Lakers and like thrust in that role, and maybe like carved out a career as like a better role as a role player, but a career where you don't end up in LA and like half the league's fan bases don't hate you. Like Wizards fans hate Kyle Kuzma. Lakers fans
Yeah.
hate Kyle Kuzma. Don't ask a Bucks fan on their thoughts on Kyle Kuzma. Like
Yeah.
I think if everything all went different and instead of being a Utah Ute where he was like pretty good, Kyle Kuzma could have went and made a legacy at UM. So
Yeah.
I would have enjoyed watching Kyle Kuzma play basketball
No, that's fair.
more than most people do.
Yeah. Well, that's fair. Uh,
Who's your next pick?
I'm worried this guy's like too good, but
Kyle
I
Kuzma
also
is
feel like
near there, like, cause he did have some good seasons and
well,
moments.
he started a lot of his career, so
I'm sure Drew
like
Eubanks has started some games.
yeah, Drew, that's true. Like that's the thing is like some of these guys have started, and that's just
Yeah.
the way it is. But this guy's like perfect because he played for like everyone's gonna know who this is, but he's like perfect because he's like one of the small school guys to succeed in the NBA.
Okay.
And I feel like I kind of have to go with him because I mean, we think about Damian Lillard, we think about like the guy for a good Weaver State team who uh played for a small school, was like the best player in the conference, like every year he played. Um, and you know what? I think I've got to go with someone that actually knows Damian Lillard, knows him really well. Former teammate Damian Lillard. I'm gonna go with CJ McCollum. I mean, he literally
You're right. You're
played for the
right.
Patriots.
You're right.
Like he is like
Fair.
the perfect. This guy, you there are like memes of the photos of him in the Lehigh jersey, like it's
Yeah.
super baggy. Like he would have been like the Dylan Darling, like this guy who's super undersized dude who just shoots the lights out and wins the like worst like some one of the worst like mid major leagues, the Patriot League, like in the country, like just like the bar is low, but it doesn't matter. He's shooting the lights out. That Lehigh team was a tournament team. Like CJ McCollum would have is easily ah, where would he have played is the question. Um, he's this is a tough one. I
He
mean,
played
because
at
I don't want
Lehigh. He could have played anywhere in the Big Sky,
yeah,
dude.
like the bar is not super, but I feel like if he's like a super crazy scorer, like I could see him. I don't think he'd be at Eastern. I don't know. Like I kind of think like maybe he would be like because the team has to be good is the thing, and like CJ like maybe would have been like an NAU guy, like scores like really insane scorer, but like the team isn't that good around him. Still gets like obviously nothing like Trent McLaughlin, like very different players for very obvious reasons. Like a guy who like you just put him on the court and he's gonna score you like insane amount of points, and the team's gonna be bad regardless. So I don't know. I feel like CJ McCollum might be like he might be a lumberjack. They like ruin his career, but he's a Big Sky Conference MVP. The like 2 years he plays with them, and then he goes off. But I don't know. I also think he could. I don't know. I'm gonna say he's gonna be a lumberjack. Let's put him on NAU. Let's have him score 25 a game and win the Big Sky MVP, and they'll still be like seventh best in the conference. Maybe get a win, maybe get a crazy win against the one seed, but that's my pick. He's good. He's good. I mean, he's not as good as he used to be, but he is he's like the small. I mean, yes, Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum's like the small school guy. Like Lehigh
Yeah.
is
I miss them on the
Lehigh.
Blazers, man.
Yeah, like I'm actually kind of recreating. Like we got Drew Eubanks, CJ
Eubanks was
McCollum.
a Blazer.
There, I will say like Derek White kind of feels like he could be a Blazer like late in his career. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
like he's got like he feels like he could get screwed like Drew Holiday did by the Celtics. So, and Johnny Furphy, dude, Johnny Furphy is a
He'd be in
future
there starting
Blazer.
five, yeah.
Yeah, this is actually just the Portland Trail Blazers in like a year. They're all back. Anyways, who's your fourth pick?
My fourth pick is I found out this is Yuki Kawamura. Is that how you say his name?
Oh, yeah, Yuki. That's
No.
a good one.
He's the guy who came out of Japan and was like drafted as like a prospect, and like
Mm,
has not had a great career since. I think he
yeah.
could have used going to like hanging out in Weaver State for a little bit, learning from Dame, you know. But I think you he's like he's not big at all. Like I think I get into look at his account here real fast. He is not a very tall guy. Talk about like a Tijon Sane type guy. But Yuki, let's pull him up here. He's listed
Oh,
on ESPN at he's apparently on the Chicago Bulls. But
mhm.
his jersey photo is not a Chicago Bulls player.
He had a
He's
really
listed. Oh, he's 5'7", 159. Talk about a
God,
Big
what
Sky Conference guard.
we I dude, Yuki had a great play the other night. I forget who he had like this insane it was a jump ball. He had an effort play to try to get it was a jump
It was
ball and he's
against the
five
Heat because
seven.
it's the only game he's played in this calendar year.
Yeah, that was the play. Yeah, that was the play I watched. He got the jump ball against Yakachunas, their rookie, and he tipped it back. And I don't know how the rest of the offensive set looked, but it was great. It was awesome watching. Guys, Yakachunas is actually like big. Like he's like 6 foot.
They're all gonna be
Yakachunas,
taller than Yuki. Okay, he's five
well,
seven.
Yakachunas is like 6'9", I think. He's the
Yeah.
Lithuanian guy from Illinois. He's oh, never mind. I'm an idiot. He's 6'5". I thought he plays tall though. He's really lanky, but he's only 6'5", I guess. Not only 6'5", but That's almost a foot taller than Yuki, and he lost a tip ball, or jump ball too.
Yeah, but Yuki was on like the G League Grizzlies last year. This it's still listed as his first season, but not like he played for the Grizzlies, but they were like a G League team. So yeah, um he would be he I think and like maybe his NBA career would have gone a little better so far if he got a year in college basketball. So I would like to see him play for any school, but Weaver State feels like could have been
I agree.
one. Okay, who's your last pick?
So I'm picking between two guys that are both on the Milwaukee Bucks, and I can't really decide who I. It's not no Antetokounmpos. I promise. There's not a single Antetokounmpo on this. To be fair, like the Thanasis totally could have been like a guy.
Playing the biggest guy now.
Yeah, he would have been solid if you want. I mean, with the eligibility rules now, I mean, bring him over. That'd be amazing. But I think I'm gonna go with a guy who's averaging less points this year, because he's another small school guy. I'm gonna go with AJ Green. He's been like a consistent bench guy. He was undrafted out of Northern Iowa. And he was
Oh
kind of a
boy.
dog for you and I though. But he feels like he's 6'4", which is a little tall for what I think like a Montana State guard would be, obviously, but I think AJ Green totally would have been like the number one guy on Montana State. He would have led that team to like a Big Sky Conference like tournament victory. Like I think he is like the Montana I looked at that guy. I was like, this guy. If you told me this guy went to high school in Bozeman, was a 4-year MSU guy, I would believe you. So that's my final pick. The big reason, other than the small school stuff, is this guy feels like he would have been a Bobcat, like 100%. So that's my last pick is AJ Green. I didn't want to go. I feel like the CJ McCollum pick was a little too good. Want to go with a guy who maybe falls off a little bit, but he's perfect. Small school guy, looks like he was born and raised in the Bow Zone. So probably played at Gallatin though. He probably played at Gallatin, not Bozeman High. He's new money. So but that's my last pick.
All right, going on the Kyle Kuzma theme of guys, maybe like this guy especially. Like I liked his game, and like
Mm,
I wish I'd went better for him. And this guy did play at like a really good Power Four college, and like was good in college, but for other
yeah,
reasons it didn't work out, and reasons it would really work, and he would be such a dog in
yeah.
the biggest guys. I would have liked for Sharif Cooper
Oh
to have
yeah,
not gone to the NBA. I know he was like really good at Auburn. Like he was
sure.
as a true freshman, like he was really fun and really good. But I just like feel like it would have been if he did like some Mikey Williams stuff and end up in the
Mhm,
Big Sky. Like he's had just such a bad NBA career so far.
mhm.
Um, that like because he this year he's back on the Wizards and he's actually played in 6 games because he hadn't
Yeah,
played since like 2022, like in NBA games. He was a
yeah,
G League guy, which is like sad because he was like, but undersized guard. Like I would have loved to see
yeah,
him in the Big Sky. Like if he had done a Mikey Williams thing, so he would
yeah.
have been a Sac State. I know they're leaving. He would have been a Sac State Hornet. Like he would have been
Oh my
Mikey Williams before Mikey Williams. He could have just like torn it up in the Big Sky and like set a bunch of Big Sky records and then went to the league. Because guess what? After like that first year in Atlanta, like, he took a 4-year hiatus anyway.
my
He should
god,
have. He should have done what those guys are doing now. Played 13 games for Atlanta, and been like, "This sucks," and went and played 4 years at Sac State.
my god.
But yeah,
That's
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 the end of my starting five. Do you have some? Who are some of your honorable mentions?
There's a guy who I didn't want to bring him up because he obviously like is more of the Mikey Williams draft guy, but um, he's a guy I wanted to bring up because we talked about Amani Bates because like he obviously would
Oh
have
yeah, rather
he's
than Eastern Michigan, if he played in
yeah like he transfers down. I didn't want to do that because it felt a little cheap from the last draft, but I put him on the list just in case I was like way light on options. The other guy from the Bucks I liked was Ryan Rollins. Ryan Rollins is actually playing really well this year. But Ryan Rollins is like he was like a Toledo guy, and he was pretty good there. But again, like a lot of those like good to decent MAC players, you honestly, I could see a world where those guys like end up playing in the Big Sky instead, and they just end up lighting it up. There's some good players in there. There's some really good players in the MAC. So like, I actually think there's like the skill gap um is not super far, but it's also like far enough where like there are some decent MAC players. So there are a lot of guys that played at MAC schools that are in the NBA that I actually think would have been super fun. And Ryan Rollins is one of those guys who I actually think would have been great. And then the last guy I want to bring up is a guy who was way too good out of high school, so it feels like he would never have gone to Big Sky. But he is a super small, like twitchy guard that just has never panned out in the NBA, and he's also a former Celtic. JD Davison.
Oh
He plays
yeah.
he plays for the Rockets now as like a two-way guy, but like he's 6'1", and he was like awesome. Like he was like awesome in high school. He was like Alabama Mr. Basketball and Alabama Gatorade Player of the Year. Um, like a state champion. He averaged like over 30 points a game, and like he ever like over right. Okay, where's the stat? I had it. He averaged 30 points and 12 rebounds as a junior at 6'1" in Alabama. Like that's a state that produces really good athletes at
Yeah.
any
No,
sort.
I remember his high school highlights. He's crazy.
Yeah,
But
but
he
he
could have been like a
definitely
transfer down guy.
exactly. That was the one guy where I kind of left him off. I feel like he probably I if I could make a swap, I would probably swap like CJ McCollum off for JD Davison. But I just thought his high school was too good, but because he
Yeah,
was a
well,
five
because
star.
those guys who are like really good in high school, even if they're bad in college, will still get like drafted like pass
Ex-
lottery.
exactly. So that was kind of my hesitance, but I actually think JD Davison's probably like perfect for this list in like theory, just because of his size and the fact that he is like a two-way guy, but just a little too good out of high school. I think my best recruit on this list is actually I don't know. Drew Eubanks actually might be my best recruit on here over Johnny Furphy, but I don't know. Johnny Furphy was like good internationally. It's hard to tell, but if he probably wasn't a 5 star because Drew Eubanks was a 4 star, but either Drew or Johnny Furphy were one of the two were my best recruits on here, but I don't know.
I'm gonna go through a list of guys who played at small schools, and I just want you to imagine them as a Big Sky players. How about
Okay.
Kyle Quinn
Oh yeah, he played at
in
he
Norfolk
played
State? Yeah.
oh Norfolk. Okay, I thought it was a level up. That but
Yeah.
that's a good school. That's an
Another
HBCU right there.
another guy on your list, J. Barea. He would have been a great Big Sky guy.
Yeah, we
He played in
for
Northeast.
for pe- for everyone who obviously was not here before we started. I had to clarify that this was not historic players, so I had to take JJ Barea off my list because he was like my number one overall pick. Like there were a few better than JJ Barea because he's like perfect. I mean, when we're
Yeah,
talking
no,
about this
he's
guy,
my kind of guy. Yeah.
yeah, he's like 5'7", 5'8". He was started though. He started some good minutes. So, but anyways, yeah, that's perfect.
Speaking historical, kind of Fareed Moorhead State guy. He would have been a great Big Sky.
Oh yeah, Freed would have been those like big dudes who like cannot take a jump shot to save their life. Like it would kill them. Those guys are perfect. You don't have to take a single jump shot, big man, when you're in the Big Sky Conference. Just sit under that basket.
DeAndre Bembry. I don't know if he's still playing, but he played at St.
Oh yeah,
Joe's.
he definitely doesn't play anymore. What school did he go to?
St. Joe's.
Oh, okay.
Our guy Kent Bazemore, Old Dominion. He would have been a
Oh,
dog. He would have been a
he
dog.
would have been, and he Old Dominion. That's Travis DeCure right there. He would have
Yeah,
filled.
he
He
would
would
have
have.
been a
There's
dog.
like yeah, because I think about like Tyler Thompson.
Mm.
Like Tyler Thompson. There's always a guy like a random dude on who just like can shoot like just they don't shoot the ball like super well all the time, but they always have random really good games and they just shoot. They're good for a couple threes. Feel like that would have Ken Bazemore would have been that for Montana.
Alfred Payton probably should have played in the Big Sky.
Right, he played for Louisiana Lafayette,
Yeah.
right? That's
Yeah, yeah,
he was a lottery pick. People forget he was drafted in the lottery
yeah.
by the
He was a dog. He was a dog.
said
He
he cut the hair. He's also not in the NBA anymore, I'm pretty sure.
no, there's no way Overpain's still in the NBA.
No, he's
I just wanted that was just the recent article I found. Anymore, they all transfer up. We're gonna get to that later. Anyway, how about we're gonna get on our pick 'em and our player of the week now. But we
yeah,
both picked Prophet Johnson as our player of the week since he scored like
yeah.
26 and 27. Kind of no doubter there. I'm not mad about
Mhm.
going off the script. So let's get into our Thursday pick 'em. We talked enough about Prophet Johnson anyway. So here's our games for Thursday. We have Monday and Saturday games coming up too. But Eastern plays at Montana. Northern Colorado, 2-game win streak, plays at Weber.
Mhm.
NAU got their first conference win of the week last week. Plays at Idaho State, a team that's on a losing streak. And Idaho looking for a big win, but they have to play in Bozeman at MSU. So just first game, we both agree. Eastern at UM. UM did not play good against SAC, but I have a feeling Travis DeCuire might rally the troops on Thursday.
Yeah, I'd agree.
We're
He'll
both picking UM.
he'll whip him into shape.
I would not want to be at practice on Monday.
God, no.
Next, Northern Colorado at Weber. I like the Wildcats. Max, you like the Bears on the road.
Wait, no, it says you. No, I'm Wildcats. You're
I picked Northern Colorado. I'd like to reverse that statement. I don't
you
like
like
Northern
to.
Colorado anymore.
Oh, really? Okay, because then I want to reverse it too. I just didn't know. I initially had NoCo, but I wanted to
Oh,
be the contrarian.
I picked NoCo, but now that I'm remembering that they can't win on the road um, in conference, makes me a little worried. So that's why I don't have them. But, you know,
Okay.
to each their own.
I think Northern Colorado has matches up really well against Weber State,
I do
and
too.
as we saw, the Weber State home environment is not super great. This has not been super great this year, so I don't think it's gonna. I don't think Weber State's home environment is gonna be that good against Northern Colorado, and I think Danker's gonna have a. I just think Danker's gonna have a good game. Um,
Yeah.
he had a good game Thursday. He had a rough game Saturday. I do think he bounces back a bit here. Um, Wait, let me check something super. The right, yeah, and also Weber State. They have obviously we don't do the Monday games, but Weber State is they do have a
Yeah.
Monday road against Sac. So I do think maybe the wear um, is going to be something to consider. Like those 3 game weeks. Like I don't think people realize how brutal those are. Like during COVID when they had to push a bunch of when they would push games to the end of the season. Like I remember when I would go to games and cover them, and I'd talk to like Travis or I'd talk to um, he who shall not be named, the former Lady Grizz head coach. But they both would say they both said the same thing to me. They would say like these 3 game weeks are brutal, and when you're already kind of shorthand, like you're already kind of like shorthanded at the end of the conference season, you're trying to get your guys healthy. It can really mess with you. Luckily, it's halfway, but halfway is still. I mean, there's already teams that are digging for players like down the bench. So I think Northern Colorado honestly has a pretty decent chance of taking Weber out at home. I think it'll be a really tough loss for Weber State, unfortunately.
I'm worried about that one. Northern Colorado being 0 and 5 on the road, I think, is the reason I had Weber. But honestly, I think I might ride with Northern Colorado too. I'm going to change back to Northern Colorado as well. You kind of
Okay.
convinced me. I had them at first before I saw that they're 0 and 5 on the road. But yeah, Weber hasn't. They didn't play well in that first half against Idaho State, and Dame was in the building. So they seem to be kind of trending downwards, and Northern Colorado seems to be trending upwards. I'm interested to see what the spread is for that game because that'll Northern Colorado kind of has been getting because of their non-con analytics. Like they've always been getting a couple more points than I thought they should. Like I think
Yeah.
they were favored over NAU,
Hmm.
which they were ranked better than them a lot. But on the road, like that's hard to do. So they usually get a couple points. So I'm interested to see
Yeah,
what the spread is. So especially if they're road dogs, like I'd like to take the points there. If they're
yeah,
favored against them, like that's a money line. That's gonna be the game I'm gonna be most nervous watching probably. Moving
yeah.
on, NAU at Idaho State. This I'm taking Idaho State in this one. Back to the back to the old back to the old road dogs thing or the road thing. NAU
Yeah.
being 0 and 4 on the road worries me a lot, and 0 and 9 overall this year. I don't think this is where they're. I don't know if they'll win a game all year on the road. Pocatello, they're going to see ghosts, but you like NAU here.
Yeah, I feel like this is a game that NAU can win. There's like I know the bar isn't super high for them, but this feels like a game where Idaho State could really like shoot themselves out of it, and NAU just doesn't have to. I don't think NAU. I think the ideal scenario for NAU here is they don't have to do much defensively. I think Idaho State this year has really put themselves in some tough positions where they shoot themselves out of games. They don't really put themselves in a position to win early. And I feel like if NAU can manage that in the first half, I think it'll be really tough for Idaho State to dig out of that hole. It's a risky pick, but I really wanted to be the contrarian here because I wanted to see NAU get. I really think this could be NAU's like one of their better chances to win a tough game. I just think Idaho State is not playing super well, and even when they were playing well, they got pretty unlucky against Weber State. But I don't know. I don't think Connor Hollenbeck's going to have another 27-point night.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
I do
Rapid City's finest.
I do agree with what you're saying. The 4 game losing streak for Idaho State. They haven't won since they had that big home win over Idaho. But they did first matchup against NAU. They did win that one 81-76. So I do like to see that on the
Mm-hmm.
road against NAU. But NAU is really playing bad at that point. And
Yeah,
you never know. On the road, NAU, I like Idaho State, but if I lose another parlay because of NAU, I'm not going to be a big fan of that. But we'll see. Maybe I'll probably lose it before then. And
yeah,
finally, Idaho at MSU. We both like the Bobcats on that one. Idaho hasn't impressed me very much. The Cats are probably going to need to bounce back after going 0-2 on the weekend on the road. They're playing at home. I don't know if you saw Biko Johnson from Idaho this weekend. He went, I think, 1-10 in one game and 0-8 the other game.
yeah.
That's not going to do
That
it.
just no. That's
Idaho kind
not.
of lacks like a true and tried leading scorer right now.
Yeah, they've been switching around a lot. They had that Rasmussen kid played really well against. I forget what game he played really
The
well in, but
first game of the weekend they played that they
right
against Northern Colorado,
when they
right?
yeah when they
He played
lost,
really.
he
He
had
scored
26.
31. Oh, 26.
He had 26, and Cole Mitchell
Yeah.
had 19. So not a horrible game for him. He didn't shoot great,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, you're
and
right.
even
He
Ras
scored 20. No, he scored 29 against Northern Colorado, and then the next game he scored 2.
yeah. So
He's
it's
a
just
freshman
like
though,
really
so I don't know.
good for. And that's the thing is like I mean if you get your young guys to do that, that's great. You just got to keep them around. But yeah, I agree. I just think Idaho's Montana State is like they're not going to lose three in a row. I find it really hard, especially at home.
Yeah.
Like I don't really see a world where Idaho goes in there and is looks competitive. Obviously, it is one of their shorter um, road trips. Technically, I guess. Cheney or not Cheney. Moscow is 4 hours from Missoula, and then I guess 7 hours from Bozeman. Which to say that's one of the shorter road trips is crazy, but it is. So Idaho could maybe be fresher than they would be um, if they played somebody else, but uh, they yeah, I just don't really see a world where they look super competitive against probably a pretty pissed off Bobcats team after this past week.
Yeah, and the last time those two played, Idaho did win at home, but by only 3, in a really high scoring game. Um,
Yeah.
89. So, yeah, just something to keep an eye on. Um, yeah, and so those picks, just so anyone is, you can bet with us, folks, if you want to. You could have faded us last week and made some money, but We both pick UM over Eastern. We both pick Northern Colorado to go on the road and at least cover the spread at Weber if they're road dogs, and if not, outright win. And then in our split of the week, Max likes NAU to go on the road and at least cover the spread if he was betting. Maybe beat Idaho State, and I imagine Idaho State's going to be favored in that one, so I just like the Bengals to win in that game. And then Idaho MSU, we both think MSU is going to win that game. I really kind of hell. Max is 12-4 on his picks, so that he's won 2 weeks. He's gotten all four right, and I am 10-6, but I still also have 2 weeks where I've gotten them all right. So technically up 8 units if you're betting with us. Both have gotten a player of the week right because I got Terry Miller Jr. this week. Congrats to him.
You did, yeah.
Upcoming games, Weber, as you said, travels to Sac State. Weber -1.5 on the road in Hornet Pavilion after a loss, after barely winning that game. Prophet Johnson might have something to say about the being a home dog. I don't know, man. I don't
I
know,
don't
man. I don't
I don't
know.
like the I love Tijan Sane, but I don't love Tijan Sane having to switch on to Profit. Like I feel like that's gonna be
Barbecue chicken. Prophet.
yeah,
Prophet.
that's a tough matchup for him. Yeah.
I'll have to
Yeah,
tune
I
into
feel
that
like it
one.
could
And then Idaho State plays at Portland State. The Vikings are favored by 6.5 at home, which feels reasonable.
yeah,
That's
that's
why I'm a
I
little worried because if Idaho State does get murdered by Portland State, it makes me. Oh, they might want to bounce back win at NAU. I feel better about that. So those are the Monday games. And then we said Thursday games. We pick those every week. Saturday, Idaho at UM. That one might be kind of fun. Look out, Grizz. That's kind of a game they need to win if they want to have a say in the conference title at all. And they got to hope for Portland State to lose, but let's keep an
yeah.
eye on. They could go on as a 2 seed as well, though. But that's a big feels like a big game for them. Northern Colorado at Idaho State. Those are two teams that could both use a win. I think it's
Yeah.
been that way for a little bit, but they're kind of fighting in the middle of the conference.
Mm.
Eastern Washington at MSU. That feels like a game MSU should win. We'll see. Eastern on the road hasn't been great, but you never know. We'll see. The Bobcats are looking. Isaiah Moses, love him. NAU at Weber, so road trip for NAU feels like Weber should. Wait, is that a Saturday game? Yeah, sorry, because that just swaps. They swap those at Weber, Northern Colorado, and Idaho State. But NAU at Weber feels like it could be a pretty fun game if NAU comes to play. I'd probably pick Weber in that one, but you never know. And then Portland State at Sac State, sleeper for a really good game. Because that's Hornet Pavilion we're talking about. When Sac State played them
Yeah.
earlier this year, Portland State killed them. So we'll
Yeah.
see how much better Portland State has progressed since the last time they played. That'll be one to keep an eye on too. Sac State has entered very watchable territory. They went from like I don't want to watch Mikey Williams miss a bunch of shots to like Prophet Johnson, get out your popcorn.
Yeah.
Move some
I
ball, Mikey.
I just want to point out that when they played earlier this year, Mikey Williams dropped 29, but he shot like 9 for 20 and was 0 for 3 from 3. Like
That's not efficient.
and Prophet Johnson had 6 points, 3 for 12, 0 for 3 from 3 as well. So um, if if yeah, I mean, fortunes might favor the rich here with because Jalen Henderson and Trayvon Minot. This is the that I do want to bring up too that Terry Miller Jr. and Trayvon Minot both had double doubles against Sac State earlier that year. So that could I don't love obviously if Prophet Johnson and Mikey Williams are both on it. I still worry about the rebounding numbers. The side like Miller and Minot are like they are just going to be even if they don't score well they're going to get boards. That's going to be the big thing for Sac State is like or yeah, for Sac State is like can you limit their second chance opportunities? Can you get like decent rebounding options or is it going to be just like get what defensive rebounds you can and hope to god you make every shot you get a chance
Yeah,
to make.
we'll see. And I know who's our guy who had the good game this week? Keon Kenzie. He seems like the kind of guy who's probably guarding Prophet Johnson. So that'll be a
Yeah.
fun matchup to see. Um, Because I think earlier in the conference, teams were really focusing on Mikey Williams, and it was working, right? But now
Yeah.
that they're focused on profit, it'll be interesting to see. Okay, those games coming up. I'm gonna crack open the second White Claw because it's time for my favorite segments, as always, our guessing game of the week. And this time, it's every team's best transfer from last year Big Sky Conference where. So where'd they go? Okay,
Oh, okay.
right.
Sure.
So I'm gonna give you the player from last year who the leading scorer who did transfer. So if they came back, obviously we know where they are now, and if they graduated, we obviously. So I'm gonna give you the player who they played for last year in the Big Sky and what conference they transferred to. Spoiler alert: a lot of Power Four actually.
Nice.
So Big Sky is kind of a feeder. Um, and if you get half, and you get have to guess the team they transferred to. So some of these you should definitely know.
Okay.
And
Okay.
you can pull up a list of the conference if you want. I don't care about that. Most of these you know these conferences, but there's
Yeah.
one especially you're gonna want to. And this is listed from who most points per game to least last year from these guys. So
Yeah.
are you ready to go?
Yeah.
And get
We're-
50%. That'll be a good day. So we're gonna start with a guy we've talked about a lot, Dylan Darling from Idaho State last year. He averaged 19.8 points per game, and he transferred to a Big East school.
Oh, he transferred to a Big East school.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, um, son of a. Is it uh, Saint John's?
Yep,
Oh, yes.
that's a
Oh,
good start. That's a good start.
that was big. I knew he had transferred there, but I had forgotten. I knew he had transferred there, but I kind of it had his memory is fading in my brain, so I'm glad I still had that.
Yeah, I'm glad we brought it back. Uh, I'm not gonna lie. When I looked at, I was looking at last year's media stuff from the end of the year, and I was like, Dylan Darling, who? Um. Anyway, I was gonna make you guess if they are scoring more or less points per game, but all but two are scoring less. He scores 5.8 points per game this year for Big East.
That doesn't surprise me,
St.
unfortunately.
John's. Moving on, Langston Reynolds for Northern
Oh,
Colorado. He was one of their guards in that runner-up finish. He scored 16 points per game. He's
oh
now
my
scoring
gosh.
10 points per game at this Big Ten school.
Oh gosh, where does Langston Reynolds play? I have no clue. I know every Big Ten school, but where do I think he would have transferred to?
You know the
Mm,
crazy? He's from Colorado too. What's the crazy part about this?
he could have transferred up
No, he did
right
not
to
do that.
see. Well,
Yeah,
like
no, he left.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
going up to see. I guess he saw what he probably saw what Northern Colorado did to Colorado this year and was like glad I didn't transfer. Imagine you transfer. Imagine you go from Northern Colorado to Colorado and you get beat by Northern Colorado. That
That
would
would
be
suck.
like
That would suck.
I would never want to play basketball again. Um, Langston Reynolds. I don't know why. I can't think of the. All I can think of is the color red, and I'm gonna. Uh, I'm just gonna throw out a guess. This is probably so off. I'm gonna say Rutgers. That's my guess.
Red, your heart was leading the right way. Right way. He
Oh,
transferred to Minnesota.
oh, well, Minnesota. Oh, I feel like I knew that, but I was never gonna get that. So
Yeah, I
okay.
remember sort of when it happened. I don't remember he was good. I remember, um, watching him, and they just had a bunch of really good players on that a team
Mhm.
last year.
Yeah.
Minnesota though is 3-8 in conference,
Oh my
so
God.
I don't think they're gonna make the tournament.
I
Okay,
would be
next one.
surprised.
This one, probably one of the ones you should know. Brandon Walker, former Montana State Bobcat, averaged 14 points
Oh
per
yeah.
game last year. He got benched actually at the end of the year
Right.
and then transferred to this SEC school.
Oh,
Brennan Walker.
was it Mississippi? Was it Mississippi State?
It was, yeah, because he's the same
Okay,
name as the Barstool Brandon Walker.
right, right. I forgot
Oh, that's a
about
good
that.
start. But yeah, he is averaging 4.9 points per game. He's really bad at defense. That's with all due respect to Brandon Walker. He's fun to watch. I like to watch him play. He's a tank. He's a huge dude, but he's not very good
Yeah,
at defense. And he got benched at Montana State, which was but Mississippi State clearly didn't watch his defensive film.
no,
Um, also, don't know where they stand. How good is Mississippi State as a team this
they
year?
can't be that good. They've got to be low.
They're 3-6 and 11-11 overall, which makes me think they're outside of the bubble. But
Uh, yeah, yes, yeah.
where's my net rankings here? I don't even know. Let's see. Let's see if Mississippi State is on in the net. I don't think Minnesota is. I would almost guarantee that. Let's see. No, they're not. Okay.
Yeah,
The
they're
first
that.
four out. Washington is like a first four out team, and they're above Minnesota, not far, and USC. So that's where I'll do it. Okay. Anyway, weird tangent. Moving on. Mason Williams played at Eastern Washington last year on a not a good Eastern Washington team last
Oh
year.
yeah.
Was not their leading scorer, their second leading scorer. He averaged 13.9 points per game, and he's
Mhm.
transferred to this Big 12 school where he has not played a game. But he's there, pretty
Oh
sure, still.
gosh, I don't even know where this guy transferred. Big 12 school where he hasn't played a game.
Has not played at
Um,
all. Like, not even like hasn't been seen on the floor.
do you know if he's been injured at all,
No
or
idea.
is it
Yeah,
just?
no. Let me
Yeah,
look it up real quick for you while you think
and
about
it
this.
doesn't really matter because I don't know if it's gonna help me because I have no clue where this guy went. Um, seems like he's
I
just.
think he is injured.
Oh, he
Yeah,
is okay.
he went through a preseason surgery. Yeah,
Oh, okay, that sucks. That sucks for him
yeah,
because
it's really
he probably would have played. Um, even if he only would have played a little bit, he
okay.
probably would
Yeah,
have
I was
been.
gonna say be careful what you say.
What?
Hip surgery, hip surgery.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah. See, that always sucks though. Like when you transfer up and you get your like big power four opportunity, and then you just have like some bullshit happen. That always sucks. But what team would he have played for? I can't imagine the team is. I don't want to say the team is like bad, but I don't know if the team's. You know what? I'm gonna go with Arizona State.
Mason Williams transferred to my Iowa State Cyclones,
Okay,
which I didn't
I was
know until
pretty.
today. So like, I hope he actually heals up and does end up playing for him. Okay, this
Yeah,
next
we're
one, you know this guy. I don't know if you know where he went. Carson Towle, I think maybe led the country in rebounds last year at
yeah. Oh
NAU.
my.
Somehow got like a fifth or sixth year of
Now,
eligibility because guy was at
how
NAU
the
forever. He broke like a bunch of rebounding records, and he transferred to this ACC school.
okay, I don't want to go on a tangent, but how the hell did that guy is like that guy is so goddamn old. He's like 20, he's got to be like 28. There's no way. Carson Tout is still playing. He was old when we were watching him play. He was like he was like a junior technically when he like joined the NAU roster.
He was like my best ever example of a guy who like you looked and you're like, why isn't their football coach reach out to this guy?
Yeah.
He's
He
listed at
played
6'8",
yeah.
250, and he's like big. Like he's not like 6'8", 250, like out of shape. Like he's ripped. I'm pretty sure he does like health and wellness fitness. He's one of those guys who's like wake up and eat a whole jar of kimchi and take this pill, and your
Yeah.
gut health will be supreme. And you're looking at the guy, you're like, maybe I should be doing that. Like this guy's fit. Like, never mind that
Yeah.
he has like state of the art athletic facilities to work out in. Also, a guy who's from Gilbert, Arizona. So pretty cool. Um, Another guy who left his home state. Um, and just a quick hint, it's not one of the new ACC schools. It's one of the
Okay. That's
before
perfect
ACC
because
schools.
I had Cal in my head, but
Yeah, it's not Cal.
that helps me out. I'm gonna go with Boston College.
Okay, good guess. Notre Dame.
Not even close. I mean, to be fair, Notre Dame isn't particularly close to any ACC school at all. So,
Let me see
um,
if Notre Dame is
he played
let me
shitty
see if
ass Notre Dame. God,
Notre Dame is they're any good this year. Any ideas?
don't think they're good. I'm
They're
off the
not
top
good.
of my. I think I checked recently, and they're not good.
They're not good. Okay, yeah, they're not in the net bracket right now. So if that helps you. But yeah,
Yeah,
he earlier in the year I checked and he actually was leading the nation, like top three in the nation in like rebounding, but I think he's dropped down a little bit. They're really bad. They're 2-7 in conference, 11-11
yeah,
overall. So sorry if
yeah.
you're losing tout, but he's probably having a good time. He averaged 6.5 points per game. Like he is a starter, but he was 13.3. Okay,
Yeah.
this one is gonna help you get back to a better percentage because you know where Malik, now Messina Moore, former Montana
Yeah.
Grizzly, transferred. He transferred to
Yeah.
Big East.
He did. He did transfer to the Big East. He transferred to a team he actually played against last year. That he transferred to Xavier. I probably still would have known that if you didn't remind me the other day,
Yeah.
but I do remember when that happened, and like sometimes I feel like, and maybe this is just me, sometimes I feel like local media members for different schools think that like players are not going to leave. They're like, oh, why would this guy leave? This guy's got
Yeah.
the
He's
perfect
got such a
scenario.
good, you know,
And then you have to, you just, I think people forget the money, the money, and two, like the Big East is the Big East. Like, why would you not want to play in like one of the premier basketball conferences of all time? So just I'm just saying, and this is totally okay. Like if you're a local media member, and I am one, you want those guys to say you want to cover fun teams. Like that is there's nothing wrong with being like objective about that. Like I want to like I love covering like teams that have great success stories and getting and winning just as much as the next person. But you got to be realistic. And Malik Moore was never going to probably reach what he was supposed to reach at UM. So, not to say he's playing like out of his mind at Xavier, but
well,
like
yeah, and
still,
like we've gone through these, and like I said, every single one of these guys so far is scoring less. But Malik Whitmore went from 12 point per game to 10, and he has started um every single game for Xavier, who you said plays in the Big East. They're not a tournament team right now.
mhm,
And that's a really tough basketball conference, and yeah, not a
mhm,
guy who like he played 1 year at UM. Like he's from California. He played 2 years at Pepperdine before that. Like, you know,
yeah,
yeah, I agree, and I think that conversation carries over to other sports too. Um,
mhm,
Especially when guys grad transfer, fans like will
yeah,
attack them, and this happens more so in football sometimes. I think, and it's fans who do it too. And I know it's because you want them to stay, and you're mad, but it's just like, you know, sometimes it's a terrible idea, and I think some guys shouldn't transfer as high as they do. But
yeah,
why not? I'm sure Malik Moore is enjoying his time at Xavier, and he's one case in how it has so far worked out for him. And I'm sure Carson Tout's having a great time at Notre Dame. Okay,
yeah,
moving on. Idaho actually had to scroll down the list a little bit. This is where it gets hard. Malik Moore, these guys were all the guys we all listed before were all like top 20 scores in the Big Sky. These guys had to go
yeah.
on the team websites and do some research. Tyler Maroose,
Oh, okay,
an Idaho Vandal last year. You remember him?
kind of, yeah, I
He
do.
scored 9.7 points per game. He's now at the Big 12 school where he's out of the rotation. He's scored 2.2 points per game this year.
He's a Big 12 score. He doesn't even score.
Doesn't play.
Oh my gosh, he doesn't play. Um, he couldn't have transferred up super high, but I don't know.
I'll say this: it's a team that is just to help you out a little bit. It is a team that is a conference team right now. or I mean an NCAA tournament team. I'm
They're a tournament team. It's a Big 12 tournament team. Okay.
wait, wait,
Who
wait,
are the
wait,
big?
wait, 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 wait. Let me double check that real fast. But I'm pretty sure. Just so think.
I know I've got a couple in my head, like Houston and Kansas and Texas Tech, and I guess
Yeah, they
Iowa
have. They,
State.
yeah, they have to be a tournament. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're ranked.
Okay. Um,
That's showing up on my net bracket.
I don't even know. Like
Yeah, 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 yeah.
they're a tournament team
Yeah, my net tournament has them as a 4 seed playing the High Point Panthers.
playing
This
a
guy
high.
doesn't play.
They're a 4 seed.
Tyler Maroose, originally from Bothell, Washington.
Oh, shout out Bothell. That's a
Oh,
home of home of a former coworker of ours. Shout out Bothell. Where the is I'm trying to think where they fall. There's a school I'm thinking of that might be too good, but if they're ranked, then I'm gonna go with BYU.
oh, what a pull! Because Tyler
Oh, because
Maroose.
I was like you're like 4 seed. I'm like I think I use like a 4 or 5 right now. I checked a couple of brackets. So
Gave some hints, but I was even like that. Like Idaho's like fourth best scorer plays for BYU, but he does. He's a 6'7" junior. I don't. He's given AJ DeMonte a lot of high fives. He hasn't. Oh, he scored 8 points in an absolute rout of Arizona State. But other than he kind of seems like they bring him off the bench and he shoots a couple threes if they're blowing a team out. He's
yeah,
only played in wins except for their 2 point loss to UConn this year. For some reason, he got 14 minutes in that one. I don't know why, but yeah. Um,
I thought that
he's a junior though, so I don't know if he'll maybe come back next year. He's still got eligibility, so good for him.
I mean
That one caught me off guard. Idaho had to go down the list, but good guess. You're above the 500 line right now. No pressure, because it's
let's
about to get
go.
pressured.
I
Get
was
ready to
gonna say
pull up. Get ready to pull up a conference because Portland State brought some guys back, as we know from last year.
yeah.
So I think maybe their fourth leading scorer, maybe even beyond that, was Ismail Habib. Okay,
Oh
who
God.
averaged 8 points per game last year for Portland State. Ismail is having a career year, 15.9 points per game for this Ohio Valley Conference team.
Oh God. Okay, I
look,
need to
look
look.
up the Ohio Valley Conference.
Okay, just so people know I'm not cheating. I'm gonna pull my phone up, pulling up ESPN right here. Uh, where's my NCAA men's? Okay, NCAA men's. Uh, Ohio Valley. I'm gonna
Yeah.
pull the standings. Okay, here we go. Oh, Ohio. Okay, Ohio Valley standings. You probably can't see that, but I just want to make sure people know I'm not cheating. He's having a career year in the Ohio.
He's having 15 a game. That's got to be pretty. I'm going to look up the scores of the Ohio Valley. What do you think?
I don't even know. Like, because
I enjoy watching the Ohio Valley Conference tournament. I feel like it's always one of the earlier ones.
yeah, they always play early. I always feel like I end up catching a game where like Tennessee Tech will play like Morehead State, and it'll be like the best game of the day, and then like the winner will go on and they'll get like killed by like UTM
Belmont
or
or
something.
someone, yeah.
So,
If they
yeah.
play in that conference, do they?
Oh, not Belmont, but who's
Who's winning the
oh god,
Ohio Valley right now?
the UT Martin. I
Okay.
knew that though. I'm pretty sure that was one of the ones I got last time when we did the mid-major leaders. Because they're that's like the only team I remember from there consistently.
Individual scoring? Oh,
I'm gonna my my guess. I'm gonna say he plays for Lindenwood.
that's not a bad guess because he does play for a newer conference team,
Okay.
and that is um, Southern Indiana, a newer D1 team.
Oh, that wouldn't have been. I was nowhere near that guess. He
Who
plays for the second worst team in the
they are very
conference.
bad this year, but
Wait.
he scores a lot more, so you know.
Oh, he's scoring like yeah, he's got like 16 points a game. Good
Yeah,
for
he's
him.
been a dog for them.
God, he's averaging 34 minutes a night. They're playing the shit out of this guy.
Let him die out there.
Dude, dude, Ismail Habib, blink twice if you need help. Oh
Oh my
God.
gosh, Ismail, credit, but former Portland State Viking, so credit to him. He's originally from Chicago, so he's closer to home
Oh,
after 2 years at
okay.
Portland State. So
Good for
good,
him. Okay.
good for him. Good for him. He scores. He isn't had well, he is 20 against Tennessee Tech, but yeah, he scored 25 once this year, so credit to him. Okay,
Nice.
last one. Oh no, there's two left. This one blindsided me more than anything else. I had to go at Sac State's roster, and I scrolled down a little bit because they had a couple guys graduate last year actually.
Sure.
Alex Kovachkev was that Cape
No way.
Hornet last year. He averaged 8.5 points per game, but he only played in like 4 games. Let me double check here. Yeah. He only played in like
There's
4 games for the Sac State
there's
Hornets this year. He's listed at 6'5". He's from Perth, Washington. Local kid. He played 2 years at Sac State. 2 years ago, played in 33 games, 5 points per game. Last year, started in 4 games. I imagine got injured. 8 points per game. And then he transferred to this SEC school.
he transferred in the SEC. Oh
Where
my
he has
God.
played in 7 games and he is averaging point 0.4 points per game. Not 4, point 0.4 points per game. Yeah, and that's because
I'm gonna
he hit a 3-pointer in this SEC school's win over St. Francis, Pennsylvania. A Brandon Dwyer scenario going on here.
oh my God.
This
Brandon, I don't
SEC
know.
for this.
I don't even. I'm gonna you know, I don't have a good guess for this. I'm just gonna guess Tennessee because they picked up a Big Sky guy before. So
The defending national champion Florida Gators.
there's no way. You gotta be kidding me. What do they have? Why do you even pick a guy up like that? You that's like I don't listen. Florida doesn't need my advice. They won already. But what the hell does that guy do that you saw in like the
Like
eight games?
this here, this 6'5" kid from this like 6'5" freshman from Washington who like played 4 games for a bad Sac State team last year. Bring him on.
I mean, I feel like there is some sort of formula in like finding like random
He's
like
played in two
mid-major
more games than
guys.
that like 7'5" guy Florida has. They're like in a similar realm.
That's a that's a good point. All of Oliver Rue or whatever.
Yeah,
For you,
he's one of like 3 white guys or like 4 white guys they bring in when the game's out of hand.
dude, Florida. It's crazy. Like you already like had your pick of the best transfers. I mean, you poached Xavier Lee from Princeton, and you find even though he's not playing that well this year, but like you have your pick of the litter. I guess the only thing that makes sense is like you can't have everybody play, so like you kind of have to find guy. I feel like you got to find like or three guys who like would if they were offered to play at a school like they could never turn that offer down, and it doesn't matter how much they play. And I feel like if I was that guy, and whatever his name is, Todd Golden was like, "Hey, do you want to come to
Alex
Florida?"
Kovachkev.
Yeah, like hey Kovachkev, I'm Todd Golden for the University of Florida Gators men's basketball team. I will offer you to come to my team. You will play no minutes basically,
Do you have
but
any
you
friends
will
who wreck and stalk on campus?
yeah, like you will compete for a national championship this year. I would say yes. I would care if I play like 3 games the whole season. I would sit on the bench. I'd give every high five I could. So I can't blame him if he took that offer because I would have taken the same offer. I'm a sellout.
Okay, so
I
he
would
was born in Johannesburg, South Africa. Yeah.
Here, I don't want it. We're not getting political on this show. No, we're trying our best. Listen, we care a lot about politics. We're very involved. But listen, we can't make any that's low hanging fruit right there. That is low hanging fruit.
Uh,
White dude from South Africa.
Alex
Oh,
Kavachkev, born in South Africa, and then
oh,
he played for Western Australia in the U18, U20 junior national championships, and then so he, what is his hometown? Bothell, Washington.
do you know if his dad owned any mines?
Oh, sorry. He's not from Perth, Washington.
He's from Perth,
He's from
Australia.
Perth, Australia.
Okay, I was gonna say I've never heard of Perth, Washington, but I don't know Washington that well.
Yeah,
So,
that makes a lot more sense now that I look at it.
uh,
Oh, that makes sense. Okay, and then so he was recruited to Sac State where he played there a few years. That's crazy. So there must be some like internet. Is that Oliver Rue guy? Where is he from? Is he from?
oh,
Is he from
he's
Australia? Because they
Olivier Ryu. He's from Canada.
oh, well, because they do have on the back of their bench. Florida has a bunch of like they have this Cooper Joefsberg guy. Oh, he's from
Yeah.
Miami. Never mind. Um, they have this Victor Mike Chick guy who's also from Serbia. So they just like, maybe have a bunch of random international guys that they're hoping will like hit. You know.
Holy hell, this Kavachkev has like an insanely thick neck. This guy's neck is
Whoa,
huge.
slow
Dude,
down
look at
there. Slow down there,
his neck
brother.
is like almost the size of his head, and his head's pretty big too. Like that's kind of crazy.
Yes, there we might need to get to the bottom of some things about Alex Kavachkev here.
Yeah, I was gonna say we got off on a little bit of a tangent, but here's the thing: if I'm gonna look up the Kavachkev last name and see if there are any mines owned by the Kavachkevs.
He
Kavachevs.
was their last scholarship offer, apparently. Todd Golden's last offer.
Hey, I mean, listen,
He
if
played
I was getting
alongside Gators forward Alex Condon in who is their second best scorer. That's why. That's the connection. He's
do you know how
he's
much
also from Perth.
undisclosed South African money was given to the Florida Gators uh basketball teams past off
Well, I'm not
season?
an expert in South Africa either. Kavachkev doesn't sound like a South African last name.
It doesn't, but it does not mean that there is not mines that are tied to that name. You can manage mines from different countries. They do it all the time.
Let's
We
see.
we
Kavachkev name words. And this podcast is about to get intro. It's Bulgarian.
okay, Kavachka, Bulgarian mine lords.
Okay. We still have one more guy to get here before you get yourself you put yourself on any
Okay,
more lists.
you're looking it up too. We're both
We
locked
have
into
one
this.
more. Uh,
Okay.
you this is to go over. This is to win or lose, and this is the Weaver State Wildcats. This is the team that had to scroll down the farthest. This guy only scored 4 points per game last year, and that's Nemanja Saranchuk.
Who the hell is that? Oh my.
Bad news because he now plays for a D2 team.
Oh hell no!
But
I'm not
the good
kidding.
news is you know this Division 2 team.
Like quite a.
Actually, matter of fact, I'll give you three guesses because there's a lot of D2 teams, but you know this D2 team.
I know this D2 team. Okay. Well, I'm just gonna throw out. I used to work as a sports reporter in the beautiful state of South Dakota. So I'm gonna throw out. I used to cover two Division 2 schools. I'll throw out Black Hills State University, the beautiful Spearfish, South Dakota.
Good guess. It's not anywhere close to Black Hill State.
Great. Okay, so not in the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference.
I'll have to
Uh,
take a look, but I'm gonna guess no.
Mostly Colorado schools in the RMAC, but
Probably not.
Okay, so I would I okay, not in the RMAC. Um, is this does he play for the Western Washington University Vikings?
No, but you got geography closer.
Oh, so he's West Coast. Is he? He's West Coast, is what you're getting at. No, kind of. Oh
Yeah,
God,
I mean, yeah, it's like sure, yeah.
there's no shot I'm gonna get this.
Okay, they beat a Division 1 team this year.
They're a D2 team and beat. Oh, okay. I feel like I should know this,
Hmm.
but I feel like that. I feel like that actually happens more often than people want to give it credit for. Because there are some really bad Division 1 schools. I don't think people realize they're a lot closer to D2 than D1 sometimes. Um, but I'm geographically closer. Um, God,
I might even guess you have been on this campus before. Maybe.
I've
Probably not
okay.
though. Probably not
You
though.
you bet I've been on this campus before.
Nah, maybe.
The only like guess I can think of in there because there's only one Division 2 school in Montana
No, it's
is
not. It's not the Montana one.
okay. It's not. Then that's like my that was like because I've been on that technically been on that campus. Um, Uh, okay, that then I'm glad you shot that down because that's all that's I don't know like
Okay, you've probably been pretty close to it. I bet.
uh, I just can't. Is Lewis and Clark State College D2 or are they too low? They're low. They're like NAI or
Hmm.
not NAI. They're actually yeah they are NAI aren't they? Um, they're too low. I'm just trying to think of campus. I'm just trying to think of campuses I've either been to or I'm like near. Um, this is like brutal. God.
They made some.
Division 2.
They made some. It was a pretty big deal when they won. Like this year. On their website, they're doing a golf fundraiser.
Great. They're doing a fucking golf fundraiser. That's brilliant. uh, they beat a Division 1 team
Mhm.
and they're doing a golf fundraiser.
Yep.
Um,
Their season hasn't gone as well recently. They're 13-6 this year.
who I like don't even have a good. I don't even know if I have a good guess for this. This actually really sucks. I feel like I'm gonna be really pissed when I hear this too. I don't even know, man. I'll just go with Central Washington University. That's all I've got.
Weber State's best transfer last year, Nemanja Sarenchuk, took his talents to Hawaii Pacific.
Oh my God, Hawaii Pacific. Oh, I watched that game too. Like I watched the end of it because everybody was like live tweeting about it, and I was like, oh shit, I gotta turn this on. I tuned into it. Oh my God, because they beat Boise State.
Yep.
Oh crap. Oh, okay,
Nemanja was out there too. He scored 3 points.
good for him. I totally forgot. That just shows you people how the lifetime of sporting moments can be really short. Like that happened this year, not like a couple months ago, and I've already forgotten about it. And that was like the craziest, maybe the craziest non-con thing that happened this year. Close to it. It's up there.
Yeah. So anyway, that's our conference guessing game.
Damn, that actually sucks because that was a real that end was insane. The end of that game was crazy.
He's one
They're
of the
like,
two guys who scores more points per game. And obviously, that's not the only stat that matters. But we were looking at leading scores, who transferred a conference. But shout out Malik Moore for doing well, and Ismail Habib when he's scoring more points per game. Yeah. So shout out to those guys. Langston Reynolds is 10 a game at Minnesota. That's pretty good actually. Your boy
But
Carson Tout's having an all right career.
yeah, Carson Tout, who we look up how old he is.
Okay. I thought you were doing
Carson.
research on our boy Alex Kavachik.
No, I've got some tabs pulled up. I'm
Yeah, might make this little. Let you do that in your own time.
by the okay. Carson Tout actually pisses me off. He's 24, which to be fair, I'm 24,
Oh,
but
um,
we're both Jack and I are both
yeah,
01
I'm coming
baby.
up on 3
So
years removed from college, so maybe it's kind of crazy he's still around.
yeah, but it's like still we're he was in college before and after we were in college. So that's why. Like that's
He
crazy. He
might have
was
started
old.
around the same time as me.
Maybe I don't know if he's. Oh, okay, maybe. Well, no. So he started at Northern Arizona in 2019, 2020, but I'm pretty sure he
Yeah, that was the
played.
first year I started college, so that's crazy.
I thought he played somewhere else prior to NAU. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, he
Okay.
was in because he broke like a bunch of NAU records.
Okay.
He had
I
like
guess I
great year.
okay. Then I was wrong. I
I'm
thought
thinking
he
of our
had
boy
played.
Joe Wistersill.
Is did he play like because I just thought that he had played
Is that his name? He was the guy in NAU last year.
Joe Wist. Oh my gosh. Holy crap, my fiance just knocked on the window and scared the crap out of me. But Joe, the Big Sky Conference's commissioner's son.
Okay, so Carson Tout played at NAU, like was like on the NAU basketball team for 6 college seasons,
That's crazy.
and now is in a seventh college. That's actually like that shouldn't. How do you do that? 'Cause
He has two.
he only played in 4, so he must have been injured for 2 of them. He skipped
Yeah, he has on his
he skipped
Wikipedia.
2023 to 2024,
Yeah.
and then he
Um.
skipped 20.
What?
I don't know. He only, I don't know. I don't know. Things are not
Um.
adding up. Is all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, we'll have to do some independent
I'm gonna have to
research
do some
on
real journalism
Out
on
and
that.
Kabachkev. Guys, we will everybody listening to the pod. We will be back with more in-depth information
Answers.
about
Yeah.
whether or not Carson Tout is actually 28 years old, and if Alex Kavachkev's dad owns multiple blood diamond mines in South Africa.
All right. Great episode. See y'all next week. I hope my picks do well.